All right. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. So, I have no idea if we're actually make it through all three panels. That's an hour. That's another hour, and that's almost an hour. So we got basically 3 hours of content, which means we're probably only gonna make it through the first two. It's fine. It's fine. How's everyone doing today? So first up, we have character advancement. Let's see, what does that actually say? Character advancement. It says for its panel title thing. We explore the outlaw styles found on the far frontiers, new technologies enabling our next generation of character customization. So we're going to talk about hair and tattoo stuff. And much anticipated arrival of diverse hair or coiffure. And then life in the first person, get an up close and personal look at upcoming major improvements to the first person gameplay, diversify combat AI behaviors, overhaul weapon handling, and how we are shaping more immersive, dynamic universe through seamless and tactile interactions. Then taking flight, we launch into our next iteration of Star Citizen's flight experience. I really cannot wait to go through this one with a fine-tooth comb. Explore impending improvements for every aspect of space and atmospheric traversal and combat and interaction. I added when to make ends there. So we should have... Yeah, we should be pretty easily... If we can get through all three of these today, then we can get through the rest on Friday, and we can be back to our normal schedule next week, which I'm super excited for. If we can get back to our schedule the next week, Tuesday will be training for Dave Morelli. So I'm really hoping. That's not what I want to do at all. Okay. All right. Where is the... There we go. Let's step into the view chamber and let's get going. IE under 40 hours. Is it really? That's... Okay. So now let's take a nice early yeedly over to... is it this window? Is indeed. All right. So I'm gonna try and get the address here, and the Drake Kraken, not the privateer. Off topic, but any ideas when the next Pathfinder is? Monday. It'll be Monday at 10 p.m. EST, over on Tree 0311's channel. Evening, by the way. Evening. How's it going? Interesting. A lot like when I do like the Sunday podcast, way more people talk on Twitch. When I do like normal weekly streams, like the weekday streams, more people talk on YouTube. I don't know. It's just interesting. Very like I'm interested to see how that works out. So yes, I have to do that on Saturday and then that on Monday. I'm only getting the address because it's there. I don't foresee me ever reclaiming the address out of buyback. So the plan is to get the address, melt it, and then get the Kraken and then melt that. Ship Pasta, hey, look, a Twitch member. How's it going? Welcome back. I already have a Pioneer. Already have a Hull E. Don't really care about the Phoenix. 890 next year. And then that will top out all the stuff I want for the limited wave stuff. So that'll be super sweet. All right, let's actually get in. Let's start character advancement. Because we have plenty of stuff to go over. So, who are we? No, you're not actually gonna. We got it's Elin Leland, Andre Price, Sean Tracy, and Forrest Stefan. I feel like because I read that last time. Like, wait a minute, this wasn't before or after that because this was the start of day 2.
Hey everyone, it's so good to see you all again in person. Thanks for coming out. So I'm Ian, I'm the art director for Star Citizen.
Well, so I'm yesterday.
The first ever day 2 of CitizenCon by talking about some of the awesome work done by the character team. All right. So first, let's talk about life in a frontier system like Pyro and how this influences the character designs. So we wanted to create something.
That's right. We're going to talk about pockets.
In Stanton already.
I can't wait.
We want to give a wider visual palette.
Feeling
of historic.
Why does he keep doing that?
Age between the different solar systems. So this chart describes the fashion pillars for humanity.
Humanity fashion pillars. Now, we've actually, I'm going to read this, then we're going to look up something, because we've actually seen something like this before. These charts help to visualize where all suits, armors, and fashion items should belong in terms of material use, manufacturing technology, and novelty. Even if categories overlap, e.g. Earth and Frontier fashions, we can create visual distinctions with the use of contrasting shapes, shape language, and fashion influences. All right, so we have brand new and old scrap as contrasting values, and ancient technology, 1950s, and cutting edge technology, 2900s. Low-tech suits and armor, high-tech suits and armor. Okay. Earth fashion, frontier fashion. So what are we looking for? Oh, it covers this range, I guess. Frontier fashion is much new. Well, doesn't have as old and doesn't have as new. And then Terra fashion is all very new and not very scrappy. Yeah, very new and not very scrappy.
We can see where all suits, armors, and fashion items should belong. In terms of material use, manufacturing technology, and novelty. So you can see Earth fashion on the left, Terra fashion on the right, and Frontier fashion right in the middle with a little bit of overlap of Earth. So essentially, Frontier fashion is function over form. They are repurposed and repaired, and generally are misfits rather than sets. Outfits are purposeful by having storage solutions. This implies survivability along the frontier. Okay, let's take a look at some of these assets.
I find it amazing that they came up with charts indicating the fashion affecting choices throughout the UE. Do you know if the level of lore-based invention is common in game dev NAS? It depends on the dev. It really depends on who's doing it. Even artists that are making prompts will come up with their own story if they're not given one. And you'll hear artists, if you watch any like artists talk about what they're thinking about as they're working, they'll often like say, well, I think it's like something like this, so I'll do it this way. Or the people who use this like this color over that, and they'll put in their own lore just in their head if they're not given it. I know stuff like Dark Souls does a lot of like lore based everything. Obviously Bethesda games before Starfield, because Starfield's a randomly generated thing, has a lot of lore for just everything, especially Skyrim. Like every book in the game, every house you come across has some story to it. So it really depends on who's making it. Like, if you're just making, let's say, Fall Guys, you know, there's the overarching kind of, probably, I'd imagine it would be a dystopia. I don't know what the overarching like Fall Guys thing is, but there's like, you know, the overarching, you're competing bean people for other people's pleasure kind of thing. But there's no like, why did they design this track this way? That there's no room for that in that kind of a narrative, in that kind of a game. So it really depends on the title and the dev. I had something I was going to say about this, but I don't remember what it was. It's fine. It wasn't important, I'm sure. What was it? It was something about the things. Oh, we just... Okay, I remember because we just saw in the last sprint report... Visuals. That one. Road. Let's hear that amazing acronym again.
Since many of you are looking forward to... I didn't think you were going to do it right there. And since many of you are looking forward to further iteration on bounty hunting,
let's keep our tour of potential gameplay changes to ships going with the Anvil Hawk. Now, one of our team members on the EU vehicle content team recently completed a first pass sprint revisiting the Hawk to explore a potential new methodology for loading and unloading what I'm just going to affectionately call the Wanted, Fugitive, and Stasis cargo containers, or WIF for short.
I love it so much. All right, so we actually saw a very similar graph for ship manufacturers. Being high design, industrial, so you'd have on this, it was ancient and cutting edge. And then you have military and commercial, which would have been high tech and what was it? Brand new. Okay, so technology and age. And on this we have design over function. So we have design and function, and we have uses for combat or commercial. That would have been a much better way of actually saying that. So we got Tumbril in here. It is almost smack in the middle, but it leans more towards high design and is not more commercial or more military. However, it like all their stuff has guns on it. So like I don't like maybe they know something I don't like. They have tanks, and most of the variants of the Cyclone also have guns on them. So I don't see how that's not more military. Anyway, maybe it's military as in specifically the UEE military. We got high design stuff like Origin, Mirai, and then mid design we have. Oh, Mirai is actually really military. That would make sense with the thing the TIE bomber thing we saw earlier or yesterday. So that probably is going to be some sort of military ship, which is very interesting because traditionally, like, you know, Misk is way down here. He just bought a Misk ship to make it military fit. The military doesn't normally have Misk stuff, and for that matter, alien stuff. Which is very interesting that the Mirai and, well, yeah, no, Mirai would be human army, human military. Gatak would probably be... Gatak is... Oh, no, this is Poa, not Gatak. Gatak's down here. Yeah, Poa is military, Gatak is industrial. That's cargo. It's also industrial Xi'an. Very interesting. What's that on the right side of your... Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Let me yerp that over there. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. So brand, bio, and positioning. Poa designs unique ships and develops innovative new spacecraft technologies, but knows that good design only goes so far. The company also excels at developing and nurturing strategic political relationships that further their goals. Tagline: the craft of excellence. Ooh, that's nice. That's very nice. A cornerstone company of the Xi'an Empire for centuries, Poa knows its ship designs and technologies are unlike anything else in the UEE, and wants to capitalize on their unique position to make their ships more common across the UEE. 50 years after the end of the bringing out Xi'an Cold War, Poa believes their vast market within the UEE for their alien ships. That's funny. They're focused on making political inroads to reduce the red tape around the sale of their ships. They're also making cultural inroads by aggressively branding Poa as a human spacecraft manufacturer to make the ships feel more commonplace within UE. Interesting. They're trying to market as if they've been there a while. So Drake, Argo, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would probably put Drake up here or down here. It depends on what military means in this context. Is it the UEE military uses some of their ships? In which case, Argo would be up here with Aegis because they use the MPUVs. But if it's a military use, then Drake would be up here because they the Corsair has 20 guns. So I don't agree with this this graph at all, basically. Most of the stuff makes sense, and you gotta squint a bit for some of it. Crusader, that makes sense. Misk. I think Misk is a bit higher, specifically because Apoa's there, and they use Apoa stuff. So, I don't know. Misk makes sense. Tumbril makes sense. Anvil makes sense. Aegis, I think, would be, right next to Anvil. Our side, that makes sense. they're not exactly high end or anything. So yeah, we've seen these type of graphs before. I love the stepping down into this area. That is amazing. Just because the military use a ship does not make it military. MPUV have utility where they are. The graph makes sense where Argo is. I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, does military mean the UE military, or does it mean for combat? In which case, one of these needs to move, Drake or Argo. If this is for combat use, everything Drake is for combat use, except maybe the Scout. Like, but everything has like some combat ability, and so I think that would be higher. If this is the UE military, then Argo needs to be higher because the UE military uses the crap out of Argo stuff. So, in my personal opinion, one of these should move depending on what the meaning of military is. And I think it's the former, that this means combat, in which Drake should be way up here. At least Drake should be on this line between commercial and industrial, or commercial and military, commercial and combat. I want player halves like this. Yeah, I was kind of bummed when we weren't getting this. Give alien ships. Yes. Now, I'm just going to warn everyone, again, no spoilers here, so don't talk about any of the stuff that's being shared around this spoiler-free zone. Yes, you shouldn't say what... No, that's not a spoiler. They announced that on official channel. If they say on Twitter or Reddit or Spectrum or all three, that's not a spoiler. The Cutter Scout has a spoiler? Yes, it does. It does indeed. What do you think the third variant of the cutter is? I already know what it is, unfortunately. I was spoiled. It has been spoiled for me. I don't know what it means, though. Like, I know the name of it. I just don't know what it does. I know what it looks like. And it's basically been the thing that's I've sworn off leaks for.
Awesome. So hopefully you guys that played Pirate Playground, you will have seen a few of those assets being showcased. So as we saw from the video, pouches and storage are a key part of the Frontier aesthetic. This drives the feeling of survivability. But from here, we thought it'd be really cool to give the functionality, but also some customization options.
So Woody OU upgrade the cutter to the Cutter Scout. I bought both and melted both, for buyback purposes. I'd probably buy both in game though. I probably will buy both in game. Yeah, it just depends on you pick the right tool for the job. So if you need a little more cargo, you get the Cutter. If you want a little explorer, the Scout. And I think the Scout is actually going to excel in value over the next year. The second they turn on mapping, the scout is going to like just shoot up in sales. Like it's insane. The thing that you don't have with a scout that you have, say, with an MSR is lots of storage. And I don't think the Herald has scanning per se. So a nice, and the Herald Drake, funny how that works. Would the cutter help me solo a Kraken if you use it wrongly enough? I mean, it's basically a size 10 torpedo. Anything an elephant with a mosquito? Yeah, except mosquitoes aren't like you're running metal into metal. Something's gonna break, especially with Maelstrom. So the Herald and the Cutter Scout will actually be a good pair because the Cutter is a dedicated scanning radar ship, the Scout version, and the Herald is basically all hard drives. So you have them running in pairs, or even like set down the Herald somewhere and go like scan a portion of a planet, track back to the Herald, set down, start the data transfer, or maybe even there'll be a live uplink. And so you have the Herald pilot just kind of doing whatever in the area. Maybe he's like surveying some specific like trees or something. Maybe he's doing like more on the ground things while the Cutter Scout is doing the large surveying. It's not that I don't like your jokes, it's that I am very bad at seeing them. I'm horrible at inferring things in text. Just absolutely horrible. Where does the Terrapin fit in all this? It will be a bigger. It should be bigger. Let us venture once more into the matrix of lies. For here, there be monsters. Do we have a matrix of lies? Yes, we do. So we need to get... Who has scanning? I think the... Aquila... Where is Mr. Terrapin Turtle? Terrapin Turtle. Where is Terrapin? I don't remember it being this late. Yeah, it was that late. Wow, that's... That was much older. And then obviously we go all the way over here. To Cutter Scout. Okay. Comp them all. Matrix of Lies, Doom and Crumbled and Dreams. Doom and Crumbled and Dreams. There we go. I can systems. There we go. No. What is doesn't? Oh no, it doesn't say radars. Two scanners. That's helpful. There goes my brain. It says, okay, so this will tell me. I don't know why that's not anywhere else. Basically, doing a lot of upgrades. What? $300-ish I can spend on IE this year. Nice. All right, so we got Cutter Scout, and we're going to duplicate, and we're going to do Terrapin. And that has... So, as a weird caveat, remember that they still have no idea what these meant at this point and may still be yet to change these. Also, wow, it's really expensive for that tiny ship. So 2 size 1 radars, and the cutter has 1 size 1. So it has twice the scanning ability. No, that's not radar. This is radar. 1 size 2 radar. But also a 1 size 1 radar. So this has a radar of 2 size 1s, and this has 1 size 2 plus 1 size 1. Again, they have no idea what they're doing. So, assumably, bigger scanner means better range and more detailed whatever. Assumably. So, bigger scanner, better scanner, basically. And what is the... Close tab. What does the Aquila have? It has a 1 size 0 scanner. Oh, but a 5 size 2 scanners. What? Sure. That's a thing. I don't know.
Let's take a look at a video we just developed internally, and this is for modular storage items on the player.
Pockets. Welcome to Pocket Citizen. Now, my problem is I'm going to end up getting a whole bunch of pockets, way more pockets than I need. And I'm going to put something in it and then take the pouch off, and it's going to keep the thing in it. And I'm just going to leave the pouches full of items everywhere, is going to be the problem. Hopefully, this also allows you to put on armor onto your clothes as well. Armor on your clothes. We do have gun on your clothes. We can do a pistol on the clothing now. Like using hard point system. Yeah, that's kind of what it is currently. There's just blacklists for what can and can't fit together. Because the hierarchy goes for armor, it needs to connect to an undersuit. So much like you can't fit a laser onto a weapon mount, you can't do armor onto clothing. I did not see this part. Well, here you go. We have bulletproof armor. It takes us like at least 10 seconds to go down. Or at least 3 seconds to go down if you're very unlucky. Laser-proof armor. It looks so ridiculous.
Pretty cool, right? So I think this will provide loads of customization.
They'll never put in an armor that is completely resistant to damage. That is not a thing they would do.
Options in the future. We're super happy about that.
They are going to redo the entire
we also
armor
created
system,
some
though.
extreme weather costumes for frontier locations, and these also follow the same mismatched and repurposed design aesthetics. Now, we've also been focusing on achieving a higher visual benchmark. So this is all driven by our new Layer Blend V2 shader and its texture library.
I really hope that they go back over their old ones, because I guarantee I could, like, stare at that one in game, because I can just see it how quality the textures are here, and not see it being blurry and stretched and pixelated. My biggest pet peeve with armor in the game right now, when I look down, like when I'm like looking at the floor, I'll see the collar and the front of the armor, and it will look terrible. There are some suits that look really good though, but this is a whole new level of quality. And like, it's like you can see this very fine texture. Like, normal games would not have this kind of texture because it's just not possible to display. Like, it looks like a 4K texture at the very least.
And we focused on more consistent wearing between 0 and 100% values. So to showcase this, let's look at...
Increase certain damage types depending on what is equipped. Oh, yes, that is very much planned. Absolutely planned. Yeah, no, that's very, 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 very planned. I think they actually might even talk about that in this thing, especially to movement or damage resistance.
A quick example asset.
It's very nice. Not very well lit though. Could have used a higher brightness light.
All right. So as we saw in the video, the insides of the helmets are looking fantastic. Now this is us getting them ready to animate with put on and take off.
Because while it's on, they'll be occluding the inside, so they won't render the inside while it's on your head. But the second you go to take it off, so like here, my headphones would not have, let's say, like inside the ear cups. But as soon as I do this, the interiors need to be there because it's just around my vision. So by the time it hits my eyes, I can actually see the inside and put it, by my side. So currently we haven't needed it, and they actually had it once and then removed it. But they'll still be occluding it when it's on you. Like they're not gonna put in helmet interiors when it's on your head. They've already said that it clutters up the visor, and they'll just do whatever cluttering they need on the UI only. Metroid Prime.
So
I've not
in
played
summary,
Metroid
Frontier Fashion
anything.
is expanding the visual design palette.
Not really a
for
Nintendo
humans,
person.
giving a more credible feeling of age and history when you travel across multiple solar systems. All right, now let's talk about something different. Now we're going to talk about some of the gangs in Star Citizen. So Ninetales have been one of the main gangs in the game. So far, over 105 million have been taken out by you guys.
That is a lot of Ninetales.
So you guys have been busy. Great job. All right. So it was like, all right, now we're going to need to introduce a few more factions to the game, okay? So the first faction we're going to talk about is Rough and Ready. So the aesthetic of the gang was to be subtle. They're understated in terms of clothing, and they almost blend into their environment. On closer inspection, you'll notice their tattoos. These signify rank and progression within the gang. Let's take a look at a quick video.
Are these also like the mechanic ones? Basically an entire gang of mechanics. Yes, he blends into his environment quite well. Fuel mechanicking, yes, okay. I wonder how exactly that works. Like, how exactly are you a mechanic gang? And what does that, like, present differently from, let's say, Citizens for Pyro or Ninetales?
I think they look absolutely fantastic. Okay. So the Rough and Ready can be found in some of the space stations around Pyro. Now the tattoos, like I said, the tattoos form a progressive design. This illustrates the hierarchy within the gang. As a player, you'll be able to earn these tattoos and apply them to your character. Okay, cool. The next gang we're going to talk about is Headhunters. So this gang is also located in Pyro, but offers a completely different frontier aesthetic. More of a wasteland vibe with lots of personality, and this will translate into the behavior types. Now this gang is currently in production, but let's take a quick sneak peek.
It's a very thorough aesthetic. I think the like supposed bone thing is put on the top is actually made of metal.
Okay, so cosplay competition next year. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. All right. All right, so they're looking awesome. Now the last gang we want to talk about is Dusters. So Dusters are a criminal gang specializing in mining-related crimes. Now internally, I love the original Desert Nomad armor. You can see him here, right? Now I wanted to use it as a starting point to establish the Dusters design language. So here we can see the Dusters gang lineup showing armor leveling and rarity. So as a player, you'll have horizontal armor progression. This will define your role and playstyle. Then you'll have vertical progression. This is your progression within that role and playstyle. For example, a common bounty hunter armor set will be weaker than a legendary, and as armor progresses in strength, it's harder to acquire. So harder missions, rarer drops, higher reputation. Now, as we're talking a little bit about armor sets, let's recap a little. So the goal is that players should consider which armor to equip
That's what we were
based
talking
on the
about
role
earlier.
they wish to fill and the scenario they're heading into. There will be also greater differences between the current armor types. So light, medium, and heavy, and this will be in protection and mobility. New armor categories will be combat, specialist, utility, and support.
So we'll have light, medium, and heavy in combat, specialist, utility, and support. And I think they go into it a little bit in a minute, that the days of wearing full heavy armor and backpack while flying a ship is numbered. At the very least, they will penalize you in mobility and being able to fly your ship in any significantly good way. at the
And
least.
these will define the type of items that are quickly available on the slots of the suit. There will also be additional functionality to assist in your chosen role. A matrix of armor type versus category will provide a variety of roles, with each providing best-in-class benefits. There will also be hindrances to out-of-role gameplay. For example, if you're wearing a heavy armor set and you're trying to fly a little snub fighter, you'll have restricted visibility and less vehicle control. So in this scenario, like a flight suit armor type with resistance to milder G-forces would be preferred. Okay. So as we saw in Ali's presentation yesterday, hygiene simulates and tracks the accumulated effects of a character going unwashed for any length of time. Poor hygiene can lead to disease, lowered health, and snarky comments. Hygiene decays faster if a character becomes dirty or wears dirty clothing or armor, and visual effects are going to be...
I think hygiene is one of those things that not a lot of people do, and for good reason. It's basically another bar, and I'm saying this as more general sentiments, not mine, because I like it. I like that they're trying it. But it's just another bar that you have to do or not do. And for hygiene, players who don't care won't care, so they'll just not do it. And they'll if all it is not crippling anything. Like, I can imagine somebody thinking that, oh, disease won't happen, lowered health, it won't kill me, hygiene won't kill me, and snarky comments, I can just walk past, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't affect the gameplay. I think it will eventually, especially disease. But also, a lot of games, a lot of games say they want to do something like this. I've always wanted something like this. Because it lets your character passively interact with the world. It goes into the same slot in kind of genre of mechanic that I think characters interacting and commenting on what you're wearing. So in and the latest one I have is Breath of the Wild. If you're not wearing anything on your character, there are certain characters that will call you out for not wearing anything. So it's kind of that same category, like a passive effect on your relationship with the world, and specifically the people in it. So it's very, very cool.
Character's skin, such as blood, sweat, and dirt. Certain usables, such as a shower, will reset the character's hygiene and clean away all of those dirt effects. So let's keep clean. Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be like some... Like, what's the time sink like? Do you want, like, it needs to be significant enough, and either there's gameplay or not. I don't know. Are they doing the Sims route where it's, just blurs the thing and nothing happens? Are you just going to take showers in clothing? Again, I don't know. That's up to them. It's going to be weird however they do it. Like, it will be gamified however they do it. They're not doing a shower simulator, or toilet simulator, or other activities simulator. So it's going to be gamified, but is there like something you have to interact with like during the shower? Is it just push button, wait for animation to play? And if that's the case, what's the time sink? Like, how long does it take? It needs to be significant enough to where you're not doing like a mission and take a shower, because that would negate the purpose. It needs to be like a choice to spend time doing that for your character, for you. So, like, you would go out, let's say you're on a Carrack, and you go out and you do many missions, maybe even you don't get to it because you're busy, fixing the ship in the back, you're running, missions, and you're doing all this other stuff, and you're going to go into port. Well, I'm going to go into port, so I should probably clean up before I go in, lest the locals not like me and I lose reputation or something. I really hope they do tie this into reputation, especially for more affluent areas. Like, not in a hangar. I think all hygiene, reputation stuff should be negated in a hangar. But if you were to say go to Orison or Terra, and you don't clean up and you come straight off your ship just covered in muck, you've been engineering all around your ship, and you forego a shower and you walk just straight into the high-end apartments or something like that. That will not play well. So somebody's going to get upset at that, and I hope they have a reputation bound to poor hygiene. So I really hope so. All they say is disease, lowered health, and snarky comments. Hygiene decays faster if character becomes dirty or wet, or wears dirty armor. Visual effects, skin characters, that doesn't say anything about reputation. But hopefully they can roll reputation into this. Give it a little more meat to play with.
Okay, so that covers a quick recap on armor sets and hygiene. Let's get back to a video showcasing the dusters.
It's a really weird cadence for this this panel. Like, I would think that all that recap would have been at the beginning. A mid-tier dusters. Low-end duster. Tier 2. It's weird. Like, his eye mask thing looks fine, but that looks like the normals are broken. Like, it looks like a white box version of this. Okay, his looks fine too. It's just that helmet that I don't like how the eye sockets are done. It looks bad. Like, the light casting around it looks like it's broken. I just think of a rat, and I don't know why. That makes him look really old.
Awesome. So you'll be able to find the dusters scattered around various derelict settlements and wrecks in Stanton. And the dusters will be available Q4 this year.
Nice.
And with that, I'll hand you over to Sean Tracy. You guys have been awesome. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I'm Sean Tracy. I'm the Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content here at Cloud Imperium Games in Los Angeles. So today, I want to talk about Starcloth. And Starcloth was initially unveiled at a previous CitizenCon, kind of in an early stage. So it's now rolled into full production, and it's used in both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So it's going to be seen on more and more assets, like some of the great art that you just saw.
So back in, I think it was yesterday's thing when we were showing off the Starcloth demo. I brought up one of the older CitizenCons, and I guess that was actually Starcloth, or at least a early version, what would later be called Starcloth. So just randomly unplugging crap onto my desk. It's fine. All right.
So what's really cool about it is that it's unified with the physical world, whereas before it wasn't unified and was based completely on character movement. Now, it's faster than the previous Cloth setups, and in the end, it just looks a whole lot better. So today, I'm going to...
So it's faster, it's more performant, and it's more integrated. So it's better quality, and it's better better performance and better quality, and more interaction.
Over some of the tech, the pipeline, and we'll see some results. So let's get and see it in action.
This is Idris Hangar? Should be. Trench coat.
Cloth is hard. Guys have to run upstairs, they have to crouch, they have to prone. It's got to collide with the environment. And even more difficult, it needs to hold up in high-end cinematics.
I don't know what's wrong with that. It looks a bit like that looks fine. Looks like a bit slow motion, but yeah. There was a little bit of clipping. You just gotta really look for it.
Just before some good spoilers, so. Yeah. All right, so how's it all work? Well, Cloth uses two meshes, a
Now,
simulation.
is there any...
That one.
No, there's no, like, movement elsewhere. I'm pretty sure it's a Valk, right? Right, that's a Valk? I don't know.
Simulation. The skinning is determined entirely.
Whoops.
Black colors indicate a simulation mesh or cage,
The front
and
is
the
stuck
render
to
mesh
his
itself.
chest. That's what
So
seems
vertex
wrong about it.
colors indicate how it's constrained to that cage,
It might not have been a full sim. It might have been just a demonstration sim on the coat.
and thus the simulation. So for example, black vertex colors indicate a full constraint. Basically, it follows the skinning. White vertex colors indicate unconstrained vertices. So the movement is determined entirely by the simulation. And then we can do a blend of gray values that is used for fine transitions and blending and fall off in between the fully
His
skinned
mic is
and fully
popping.
simulated assets. So in the end, these meshes are sent to the engine where we bind the cage to the render mesh, and then tech artists can leverage some of the runtime tools. You can see up on the image that the sim cage mesh has about 5,000 triangles, whereas the actual render mesh is about 45,000 triangles. So it's obviously much more efficient to simulate the sim cage mesh versus just the render mesh itself. So part of the technology is the runtime iteration support, which you can see in the image above me here. That's with all the red spheres. Here we're actually painting the collision radius of every single one of the vertices, and it allows us to fine-tune the simulation without having to add arbitrary collision meshes, though we can. We paint a variety of properties, so some of these other properties are mass or displacement. In the top right, you can see an example of the old legacy implementation using pendulums. And this uses joint chains and collisions, but assets with multiple layers like the one that you can see there, or ones like skirts or gowns, they were really, really difficult to do with pendulum simulation, but they are solved with Starcloth. So
Twitch is now
I
live
mentioned
with
it's
the house?
completely
Oh, no.
unified with the physical world. And what that really means is that wind, impacts, object collisions, thruster backwash, all these kind of things actually react to the cloth reacts to these things, and so much more.
I wonder, and I highly doubt this will happen, but if you were to be in a ship and it jerk with the cloth simulation,
So it's not
compensate.
just character movement. Now, it's a hyper-efficient simulation, and it's several orders of magnitude faster than the legacy implementation that we used
Wow.
before, and has a lot of easy-to-control parameters for tech art, which are compression, stretching, and bending.
Wow.
So as mentioned
That's
yesterday
big.
by Chris Rain, our senior lead physics programmer, we support soft body tapered capsules, which are twice as fast as our ragdoll capsules. It's also key to solving one of the most important aspects of plausible cloth simulation, and that's mitigating the tunneling or the clipping that happens through a character. So it's very, very difficult to solve with pendulums. So with all this tech in mind, we can do really complicated assets like the Duster and the one I want to show you now.
Several orders of magnitude. Let's talk about that first. Absolutely. Let's
here you're
let's
seeing it
honestly
about-
like that. Let's just straight up search what that means. An order of magnitude are used to make approximate comparison if numbers differ by 1 order of magnitude. X is about 10 times difference in quantity than Y. If values differ by 2 orders of magnitude, they differ by a factor of 100. So several can mean anything from 100 being 2 orders of magnitude to I think 5 is a good several, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 100,000. So somewhere between 100 and 100,000 times more performant. Several orders is like 10 to 1 or 1 or 105. Oh, 10 to 5. Yeah, that's exactly the numbers I came up with. So it's at the very least 100 times more performant at the lowest end. Like it's one oh to 104 carat 5. I don't know what 1005 is. Maybe I'm just being dumb at math. Oh, 10. Yeah, 1005. Yeah, yep. Okay, I'm not being dumb. So like, not only that, but it like had so much functionality. So I'm gonna say like a conservative 10 to. I'm gonna go 10 to 3, right? 10 to 3. 10,000. Or no, that's 100. 1,000 times more performant. Like, because I think, yeah, I think 2 to 5 is a good like several. 100 times at the lowest. Yeah, it's just like they're gonna throw sim on everything now. Just like, hey, that tablecloth looks like it could use some cloth sim. It's like that rug. I know it doesn't move, but we should like cloth sim it. Like, can you imagine getting cloth sim in like the what has it? I don't know what has it. Ship interior. That is not Star Citizen. That looks so good though. Yeah, there we go. There, yeah. So it's freelancer. That looks like that can have cloth sim on it, right? All this have cloth sim. So can you imagine like being the freelancer in Atmo, opening up the back hatch, and all this stuff starts like being moved by the wind and the turbulence? I think Drake has some cloth in it as well. Like in the walls. I'm looking for it's got those things on the Carrick? Not Carrick. Corsair? There we go. That's not a Drake ship. That doesn't have any fabric. Maybe not. Maybe they don't have any fabric on the walls. Could have swore I saw some. like on the caterpillar. Yeah, nope, no, that's fine. But yeah, just like cloth sim all of the things. I want that back. Hold on. And think about all the flack cropped for doing bedsheet physics. Yes, I do. And I'm like, no, if they can pull that off, instead of having my character get into a static bed or any like NPCs getting in or out of bed and just like doing that whole like getting into bed like animation in that dummy pose, just be like, I am a sleeping character. Like, no, the amount, if the blankets could actually come, like if they could pull the blankets over them and get out and the blankets like then push off the blankets next to them, like that the amount of immersion that will actually add is so high. I mean, they have bed sheets. Sean was increasing efficiency by 100,000 times. When Kotaku was mouthing off, Sean was increasing efficiency by 100,000 times. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I really hope that this was the same system like they were working on. Like, Star Citizen is going to be such a much better game in a year. It's insane.
5 different layers of cloth going on and self-colliding between each other.
Yeah.
It's reacting to the planet wind, which is always changing. On the front, there's a big leather apron. So this one's actually a lot heavier and it moves a lot differently than the cloth on the back.
Have you seen the release view? I had. Is there something specific about it that I'm supposed to be noticing? Talk about the hair update? I'm excited for these. I'm excited for that. But I'm mostly excited for this. And I'm mostly excited for... That's not one. Media... Wait. Where is it? For an open container. Just there. Yes. We knew that was coming from the from CitizenCon, so we'll be seeing that either later today or tomorrow in the review on here. So yeah, very cool. I'm much more looking forward to the customizer, and other than the hair. The hair's gonna be great. I will appreciate the hair. Yeah, I think it's cool. I got like nothing negative about it. Just yeah, it's one of those additions that like make the game good, better. But I don't know. I'm not really like. It doesn't make it on the list of like features I'm looking forward to, I guess. Definitely appreciate, definitely will enjoy, definitely will make the game better. Just doesn't make that list. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's a bad way of
So
describing
he's
it.
walking into the wind here. And in the end, as I mentioned, it just looks a whole lot better. So with that, I want to hand you off to my friend, Andre Pierce, who's going to talk about hair.
Oh, hey, here's the hairbit.
Thank you, man. Hi, everyone. So, nice to be here in LA with all you guys. So, I want to start with a question, okay? How many of you are actually excited that we're getting new hair into the verse? All right. All right. So, I'm Andre. I'm the lead artist in our recently formed hair department. We branched out from the character art team and created this department. And it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you and tell you that we're damn proud of what we achieved. It's been a long road, but definitely worth it, okay? Now, we're going to start by just looking at the most impactful changes that we have in our workflow, okay? A bit of a technicality part. Then you're going to get to look at the benchmark assets we have created, okay? And from there, we're going to take a glimpse into the future of what hair could be with a more diverse.
The hair is the beginning of them adding this stuff like the cloth tech. Although these are important although these are as important as inventory and stuff, these cosmetic ones will change. I assume not as important as inventory and stuff. Will change the look and feel of the immersion. Very much so. Very, very much so. Unsuper irritated. I can't post. Oh, super irritated. I can't post on Twitch. I have no idea what's going on. I think it'll have more of a dramatic effect on how everyone feels about the game than any of the releases. Yeah, no, it's a personal thing. It is an absolute personal thing. Absolutely. It is something in the game that lets you do something to you. And putting on a hairstyle is a very personal thing. All of character customization, even for people who speed through it and say they don't care, they will choose stuff that they connect with. So it is for everyone is their personal taste and their personality represented in the game. So yeah, it is big. I am looking forward to it, but like I said, it doesn't like make that. I'm like, how do I describe it? It's hard for me to describe this. Like I'm looking forward to it. I like it in the game, but it's not like. I guess hyped. I have no hype for it. I like it. I appreciate it. I just don't have hype for it. I think is how. It's a quiet kind of excited.
Hairstyle,
but this has nothing to do with the claw simulation. It I don't know if it started out in State Tech, but it branched off or something. But the physics simulation is slightly different. I don't know if that's what you meant, but or it just meant that this is the first part of the new tech that they've shown that we're getting. But yes, but they also have some AI stuff that made it into 321.
The military look that was driven mostly by what Squadron 42 was. So because we did a lot of work for that as well. And yeah, from there, as a last note, I'll have a special announcement for you guys, okay? Don't want to spoil it, but you stick around, you're going to love what we have, okay? So, first thing I want to touch now, very simply, okay? Hair for games is hard. It's really hard. Oh, by the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets in the Persistent Universe? Fully rendered.
I never realized how important character customization was until I saw the innovation and level of care that CIG have put into it. Now I'm actually excited to customize and feel kind of weird. Go look at some, like there's some really good videos about how people connect to customization, especially when minorities get finally some even parts of characters, like whether it be the correct skin tone, and I'm just saying like the obvious ones, like even like the smaller minorities, even like people with skin conditions, when they get like skin textures and skin shades finally put into games, or you know, different hair types, different hair looks, different hair colors, and like a lot of games are pretty good now at doing older characters. Didn't used to be that way, but still, like that amount of, I hate using the representation word, but like the amount of customization, being able to see yourself in your character is big, and it's one of the main things that diversifies games from movies or books. You can't put yourself as the main character. The main character looks like the main character. So if you're reading a book and says, well, the main character has red hair and, is this certain person, or the main character is, on screen, whether it's, played by a famous actor or whatever, like that's their face. That's not your face. That's not your features. That's not you. Your character in a game is you. Whatever you put into it, whatever you decide to make your character, whether you think it's funny or you just like to look at your character and so you choose something you like looking at, it is still a representation of you. And that is bigger than most people give it credit for. There's a lot of good video essays on being able to make characters that let you connect with the game. So finding stuff in a character customizer that you actually connect with, not that you're just like clicking through stuff because there's nothing you really like, but having stuff that you actually like.
Okay, game ready, performant, ready to be shipped. Okay, so hair is really hard, like I was saying. It is a AAA challenge, basically. You see games that get it, games that don't. Some of them get it more or less. Either way, for us the challenge is the same. We're not different, and the challenge is real. With the scope of Star Citizen, like day-night cycles, all these light shafts, all this MMO, people running around with the hairs, a lot of motion, a lot of fast-paced movement. Yeah, it is hard. But the best thing is we have arrived. Okay? It is, yeah, it is, it doesn't end here. Okay? Yeah. It does not end here, okay? It's the nature of CIG. We just keep pushing the boundaries, but like I said, we're really proud of what we're showing you here today. So let's dive in what we made all this possible, okay? On a high note, on a high level, basically, a successful hair requires 3 fundamental elements, okay? There's the texture, there's the placement, and there's also the shader.
I love that hair so much.
All of them do. Okay, so it's basically, you can have a great texture,
like that,
great placement.
The black to blue, I think, like, really grabs me, but just, I love it so much. I want to know, can you, and I'm pretty sure they go over this, can you have white to blue hair? If we get a white to blue hair, that's my hair, 100%. Like, my perfect hair would be a naturally black, dyed white, and blue tips. Like jet white to blue. Very, very anime, but yeah. Like,
if your shader is wrong, no go. Really. And the same if the texture fails or if the placement fails. So really vital, really important that everything works together.
But volume is how this looks. Like, it looks so good.
Into these 3 parts, it also allows us to
very few of the hairstyles do I like as much as that one.
And push the quality up. Or like Chris Roberts would say, bring the high fidelity, right?
Move your viewer, please.
So,
yes. Sorry. Boop.
Really vital, really important that everything works together. But
I keep looking at that so I can
breaking down the hair into
make sure I
parts, it also allows us to actually go deep into each of them.
So when they're like showing words, I mean, I
or
move.
like Chris Roberts would say, bring the high fidelity, right?
Let me actually reinstate that button. Yeah, hotkeys. Transition. Yes. There we go. Now I have a single button that I can hit. It'll transition me.
So, on the texture end, there was a lot of changes. What you see on the top there, the common approach of a AAA game would be to have true black.
Now, I'm not sure you guys can see that, because I didn't see this the first time either. And I'm also not in full screen. So I'm going to put it in here. Not that. Excuse you. I didn't say that. I said that. And then I'm going to zoom in a bit. So the difference is this is squared off, this tapered, but also the thickness of each strand. It's kind of like 720 to 1080. or 1080 to 4K. Like, you have so much more definition, even at a smaller scale.
Black, true white on a transparency map, a bit of taper on the tips and roots, and call it a day. That's what happens in 99% of the games. Now at CIG, we went a bit further than that. We tested all the thicknesses that were actually reasonable to test, of course, and we came to a realization. The hair doesn't need to be thin enough. It just needs to look thin. We do need it to be thicker enough, thicker than the real life hair, because if you take one of your hairs, you'll see it's really thin, right? So it does need to be renderable. That means if it's really thin, it will be sub-pixel rendered at some point. With the motion and all that, we will get a lot of artifacts. And so that would be a no-go. We do need it to be thicker than in real life. But can we make it look thin? That was the question. So we came to the realization that from hair, or from scalp to hair, and from hair to the background, so these 2 points, the transition points, are the most important ones for the hair. So we aggressively tapered the tips, which is what you see over there, and added a gradient to it. So no longer true black and true white. Now, this is a lot of technicality. You will see practical examples of this, but that allowed us to have smooth transitions and basically achieve the result we expected. On the placement side, we came up with hair libraries, basically. Now, I could be here all day talking about hair libraries, okay? Because I'm a very technical person, and if you see me around the venue, feel free, I'm Andre. You can just come and talk to me about this. I'm not going to bother you all that for a...
So I assume this is volume of volume of hair. From really thin to very thick hair. So you see, it's the same library, just rendered and placement render. Or what they're placing, what it looks like.
For 1 hour about this, but I'm going to give you a very quick example that you all can relate. So imagine in real life, you have a construction business and you could make one wall, one roof, one floor and one window. You make it all work together, and from there, you're not only building your house, you're actually building the whole town, and then the whole state, and then eventually the whole universe, right? That's what air libraries are. Obviously, the result, if you could do that, it would be much cheaper, much faster, and above all, you wouldn't have a fruit salad of assets, which was what we had in the hair not too long ago. And by fruit salad, I mean several artists working through the years, each one of them applying their own workflow. Everybody's at different levels of quality, of course, different minds, different ways of seeing the same problem. So, at the end of the day, fruit salad, right? And we wanted uniform quality. So for that, air libraries are a great solution. We also decreased the time of production of hairs. So
this is, again, optimization.
It was taking us 20 to 40 days to create one hairstyle per artist, okay? Right now, it's going from like...
What do you mean the two sets look different? Oops, that's not one. They're bending the same directions. Hmm.
3 to 5, 7 days per hairstyle, which is that great news, okay? Like 40 days of production of hairs. So, it was taking us 20 to 40 days to create one hairstyle per artist, okay? Right now, it's going from like 3 to 5, 7 days per...
Okay, so let's do 7 divided by 40. %. Takes them 17% of the time it used to. Why does the first set look flat? What's that? Oh, that is so. Back in this slide, placement. So this is where you're putting the hair, where the volume is. So it's a lot like paper mache. You're creating where all the hair is going to be. You're shaping it, and then from that you use the texture to get the actual what it's going to render as when you hit play. So placement is a lot more like shape. And so that is what these libraries are. These are the libraries that the artist will use to shape the hairs. And then this is it being rendered. This is the texture and shader applied.
Time of production of hairs per hairstyle, which is that great news, okay? So yeah.
So
yeah.
what can you, so 40 divided by 7, they can now build almost 6 hairstyles in the time it took them to build one.
That was major.
So a
achievement.
5.7 times increase.
Cool. So hair libraries are just a thing. We love it. It's not just picking up a texture and putting it there. If you do that, like you need to actually see the scope. Gladly, we have some of the best artists in the world on hair working with us, so we managed to achieve this at the scope that we wanted. Now, on the shader side, there was plenty of changes as well. Some of them are very techy, very cool as well. I'm going to run through fast through some of them so you guys can understand the scope of what we're dealing with. But let's just understand, like at bake time. So bake time is prior to runtime. Runtime is where the game runs. Bake time, we're preparing the asset to actually put it in the engine. At
yeah,
bake time,
both
we
these
calculate
this and the
custom
last
normal
one, just
and we store it per vertex. So each vertex.
Where is it? There we go. 10 years montage. This is a great video.
Hello everyone. In this speed up in
the game I always wanted to build, but I didn't have the tools to do until now.
A new company called Simply Gone. They make a tool that generates level of details off of meshes, so we can save artist time and automatically generate the different level of detail.
Basically, they're doing the things that are going to let us build Star Citizen. So first we sit down, we build the tool.
So basically, it's an entire 30-minute video. Basically, every time they mention a tool, it's going to help them build it faster. And they're continuing that trend. It's never at a point where they can stop iterating, which, given infinite money and time, you can continue to iterate, which is great. You don't have to take those artists off iterating and put them on development. You have also your development ones that can use the tools that your techs are building and leave them there to see if they can push it farther, which is how we got, planets up to where they are now. We didn't have the planet guys say, well, we made planets like we had in the first version of the Persistent Universe, and they just went, okay, now move on to building these planets instead of working on developing the tech. And that's what we got here too. They were able to have their tech people build tech, and now they have the tech. They're going to hand it to the artists, and artists are going to do amazing work with it, and they already have, as we've seen. And the tech guys are going to stay on developing the technology instead of having to develop each individual hairstyle. So more power.
A custom normal. That makes, in a practical sense, for those who are not too technical, it basically makes the...
And also we're getting all the development we're going to see over the next 12 months and 24 months. And Squadron, hopefully, by the end of next year or end of 25. I can't imagine it by the end of 25. I can imagine like spring 25. I can't imagine winter 25.
Card, the air card, not look like a card. So the normals is help with the way the light reflects. We kind of do more smoke and mirrors on it and make it look not like a card by just making it that way. Now, on the ambient occlusion, we store two baked ambient occlusions onto the color channels of the vertices as well. Now, each vertex on a mesh in any game has a color to it, okay? You might use it or not. Imagine in a car, you have a trunk. You can use it or not. It's up to you. You don't it's not silly to use the car without using the trunk, of course, but if you have a luggage, you can put it there or in the back seat, wherever you want. Now, we decided to use this because it was free. The trunk was already there, so the vertex color was already
I
there.
really like the way he explains that. There is a channel in this texture because it is a texture. There are certain things that a texture gives you, which is, you get the, I think in each texture there is an RBG plus alpha, so you have 4 channels. There are 4 channels, and you can use them or you don't. So for at least normal mapping, I know normal mapping only uses like 2 channels. Ambient occlusion only uses 1 channel, and that's white or black, so that kind of gradient. But you also have alpha, or is that just alpha? Anyway, they only uses 1 channel, so you have these other channels that you can use for other data, and it doesn't have to be texture data. It can be data to relate to what should they use it for, telling the engine something else about the texture. It's also something they do a lot in a lot of shader stuff now. Basically, having some data stored in the textures that doesn't apply to the mesh that's being applied to, but it's letting other parts of the engine know the data that it's actually supposed to be reading off of this texture. So it's a data color instead of a visual color.
To store 2 ambient occlusions on it. These 2 ambient occlusions work this way. Light hairs, like a blonde hair, obviously needs more shadowing, or less shadowing than a dark hair, right? And so we store 2. The length of the card is now baked onto the last one, and that gives us a metric of where the card starts and ends, and allows a lot of cool things you're going to see on the videos I'm about to show. So, one last thing before we can start looking at videos is that
this is the
this
weirdest
is really
one.
Creative. Total credit for the people, for the tools programmers.
I get, like, that's around the neck, like, I understand it, but that looks terrifying to me. I don't know why that creeps me out.
I personally had nothing to do with this. This was already at CIG when I joined. It's absolutely amazing. So, we have an hairstyle that was ready, that you can see over there. And we have a hair cap. An hair cap is basically a mesh on top of the character's head, which is invisible, transparent. It is just there. Sometimes we use it for shadowing. That thing has an UV. And so we project the hair, or where the hair starts, onto that UV, and gives us that image that you see on the middle, right? And so we now have a 2D space that relates to a 3D location. Meaning that if I want to have hair like mine, which is white on the sides and dark on the top, I could just paint this part and get it white on one side and then dark on the top, which is an insane advancement because cars normally are stacked on top of each other. So,
oh, I just understood what he's talking about. I did not understand what he was talking about the first time. This lets you color the hair based on location on the head. You could have polka dotted hair. So basically, you can paint this image, whatever you want, and it will show up here. That's how they're doing hair colors, is they're using this to infer color to the hair. Also, the hair is like really cool. It actually makes me think of like Fifth Element. That's insane. That's...
When an artist is placing cards, if you paint one card to make it white here, well, it's going to be stacked on top of the other, and you're going to get spots all over the place, and no control over it. So this allows us to give control. And what you see on the last image is the possible result. For example, now, I can paint one side.
Okay. CIG, I know you don't want my stuff. That's a piece of corn. Please do not sell hair skins. I will not buy them because that's ridiculous. Just let us paint our hair. I know they go into a little bit and in the character customizer part way over here. But I know that's not the end of it. Like, they're still going to be using it. Use a lot of UV mounts when I use Blender. I didn't know it was colored, though. I didn't understand what they were talking about here when I started live.
3D space and get this possible result, which is pretty amazing. So,
video.
Next video, we're going to take a look at our tools, okay? This is not the way it's going to be exposed to you guys in the character customizer. You'll know more about that later, okay? This is the tools we use we are able to actually create the
the color
hairstyles.
pack.
So let's take a look at this.
You know me. We all already know. I gosh dang it.
You have the full range, so you can go for full white. These are melanin ranges, so realistic ranges. Fully white up to black.
It all renders very nicely.
Obviously, you can go redhead as well. Get out of the way. You also have the dye feature where you can see all the things
Yeah,
we
you'll definitely be
talked
able to
about
do what.
implemented.
So I want.
You can
So I don't even know if I'll be able to find it. Not that, not any of that. But it's like a short, I guess jet's not the correct color. And also, there's not a lot of like jet white in here. It's like even like whiter than that because it's white with like a background of black. It's a very artificial white kind of color.
go a bit more wild on this.
Nice. Okay, colors moving in.
And this is why important the length of the card is stored in those vertices. And obviously you can fade it as well as much as you do. So all the possible combinations between the realistic melanin ranges and the dye layer, okay? This is how the occlusion is working, so you can see these shadowings, creating more negative spaces, more structure to the hair. And if you look at the temporal line here, you can see how this pixel depth of set helps us with the transitions as well. Cool. By the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets, ready to go to PU?
So it gets a lot like this? Like that kind of a thing? Kind of like that? Like very artificially white hair. But that a lot like that. Very much like that. And then just blue tips on top of that. So black base, white hair with blue tips.
So now that we understand a bit better how the hair is working, that's why the boring part that I told you just before, you can examine these images with a bit more of an informed opinion. That is basically the example. Now, that's all very exciting, but we want to show you hairstyles that are actually in Star Engine and working.
What is that coat, though? That looks like an amazing coat. I love the color on it, and I want it.
That's the video we're going to take a look next, okay?
Again, love the coat thing. It just looks so good. I swear I've seen that in concept art. So, with that kind of hair specifically, hair that is done up in a way, whether it be, well, any hair that is done up, like specifically, because I know, because I have sisters, that it doesn't stay like that. So I hope they're going to find a way to either make hairstyles degrade like weapon wear or something, like ship degradation and things like a texture would wear, and they would wear the hairstyle down into whatever a natural default would be for that hairstyle. And also a way to, specifically like hairs like this, to be able to remove the done-upness about it and to let it fall and to go to a like an alternate hairstyle. Because I think that would like finish that, like how good the hair looks and make it act like it. Act like it looks. They just look so good. I can never not see the Russian from Indiana Jones. Well, I would imagine, or image, that's possible. There we go. With the amount of movement that is possible with hair, I would imagine would be something like keyframe between 2 and 3 possible states, right? Yeah. Or, yeah, something like that, yeah. Or, yeah, just key between 2 and then have, move it. Like, don't have, like, just a linear movement between 1 and 2, but have it, like, kind of shift around as it falls, and then we'll get a critical place, then it will fall faster. Like, so far the only hair style they've shown that would have it is that first one. So it would be like, I guess you could do 3. Like, you'd have pristine, messy, and then it would fade to falling out. So yeah, I guess 3. Plus you have the dynamicness of the hair itself. Like, it still moves. That's a really nice one. It's very shiny.
Great, guys. So I can see by your feedback that you really enjoyed the dive, so I'm going to try and direct things that way next time. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, these are game-ready assets as well. Now, like I promised you, we're trying to make this diverse and get away a little bit from this type of hairstyles you just see now, which is a bit more military. And for that, we'll have the next video. Now, it's important for you to understand if there's any 3D artists, character artists, air artists out there, you will know. Some of the hairstyles you're going to see next are some of the hardest things you can do in hair for games. In a practical sense, if you can do what is going to be shown next and render it at 60 frames per second on an MMO, you can do pretty much anything, okay? It's our glimpse into the future of what type of diversity we want to achieve. We're not only going for this style, but just showing you that if this style is one of the directions, then the full range will come. I hope you enjoy.
Also love the jacket again. That's a really cool one. I really like that one.
Thank you, guys. So yeah, like I've been saying, these pictures you see here, they are all rendered as you see in real time, depending on the light conditions and stuff. But there is no tricks here. This is actually how it looks. And that's why we're really proud. Like I said, it doesn't
This must be really tough to, yeah.
We're pushing this forward. This is just to replace the stuff that was there. I'm pretty sure you guys were tired. Nobody at CIG was happy with what we had. I can assure you that. Yeah. Especially as an air artist, right? So, but we finally arrived. Now, we've seen all this. What does this mean in a practical sense for you guys? It's the question you may have. Well, let me tell you really fast. We made over 75 hairstyles since like 6 months ago. On the last 6 months, we made 75 hairstyles. That is a lot. That was possible with all the changes we made. Yeah.
So let's see. Let's math that out. Yeah, just get out from behind the camera. 30 times 6. How many did you say?
75 hairstyles. That is a lot.
75. It's around 2.4 a day. Wow. They were averaging almost 2.5 hairstyles a day.
That was possible with all the changes we made. Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
That is a great achievement. Now, we cannot hand them all to you right now. It's very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't end up here at the artist end, okay? After this, there's a tech art pass where they need to skin it. They need to make it work with hats, with goggles, with everything that needs to work, right? So it's a process that takes time, but we wanted to have a certain amount, a quantity that would be enough to replace all the stuff that it's there, give you enough variety for you to start, and that's what we're going to see next. Now, it also tells you when are you getting it. So As a last note, I'll leave you with this video, and next, Forrest will come here to talk about his stuff. So let's take a look at this, guys. This is actually what you're getting. Into the PU.
Major hair update 3.22. Very cool. Very cool. But like,
So
we
before
don't get to
the
color
event,
it yet. I want
You're
to
gonna get to
color
enjoy
it.
these hairstyles. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, guys, and see you in the verse.
Another round of applause for Andre and getting new hairs into the game. I can't wait to put new hair on my character, I'll tell you that. And for Ian and his awesome character team and the amazing characters they showed us earlier. Absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna run through this, we don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna talk to you about character heads. We've talked about hair. We have talked about outfits. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the heads and our pipeline and getting us from the actors that we hire to do the photogrammetry all the way to the game characters. So we have a DNA pool, expansion, and customization I'm gonna be taking you through. We made a data-driven pipeline for adding new heads. So what is a DNA pool? DNA pool is just a bunch of heads that we put into the game. That way you can modify the ears, the nose, the chin.
The hair, how it goes from this yellowish white to this pink purpley. I love it so much. It's so good.
In the mouth,
So good.
and you could interpolate between all the different heads, a DNA pool. We want to expand the pool and allow for more selection and range.
They really
so we
need to
scanned
put
60 new.
like they really need to put. I'm sorry, Stefan. I'm sorry. They really need to put person customizer stores in the game, so you don't have to go back to the menu to do so. You can stay in game and do a little customizer in game, even if that is for now only hairs. But also, you know, they have lip color. I don't know if that's something in the game currently, but there is in at least the customizer. That should also be something that either you get specific products in game, like items in game, or you get kits in game, and you can do it on your own ship, on your own hab. Like that needs to be a thing. Do it, CIG.
New heads for our DNA pool. 60
The face
new
is
heads.
so lifelike. It's distracting. Yeah.
And we process them internally.
Yeah.
We also added customizable facial features,
Like
skin tone.
it looks as good as Frostbite and a lot of the other like super high-end triple A games, and they're like, these are our characters and they're so lifelike, but they're not customizable and they're like static and they're only in the story. This is an MMO. This is customizable. This is living characters, and we will like remember back, you know, hygiene is going to happen to all these characters. So they're super lifelike. They're customizable. They're you. They can get dirty, and they'll be doing jobs. They'll be doing, you know, bunker runs and cargo runs and repairing your ship and racing and going to the grocery store and the medical bay and all these other things. Like, it's just, I love this game. I love it so much. There's a reason why, like, I'm here almost every day talking about it, trying to make like this what I do for a living, because it is just constantly amazing. Constantly. And it's just phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about it.
Complexion, makeup layer on top, revisited the eyes. These characters look new and they look great.
There you go.
All right. So our current pool, there's the 18 heads right there. But that wasn't enough. We need more. That is our new pool.
Daily makeup for girl characters with customizable items purchasable from Kelto. Fucking female players would eat that up. Not just female characters. Like the character, none of the character stuff we have already in game is gated, and I don't think they're gonna gate anything. Like clothing is a different example because they have to at least graft it to the body type, and they've said there's gonna be a lot of stuff that's the same, but there's gonna be some differences as well. So like it, just like everything, just everything.
Very exciting. Right
Nail
now
polish
in
should
the
be a thing,
PU,
too.
when you're playing,
Nail polish should be a
see
thing.
that center row? You get 9 females and 9 males. And now we're going to be getting all these characters. It's for Squadron and the Persistent Universe. How do we do it? Well, we partnered with Clear Angle over in Pinewood, London. And they have this thing called the Clear Angle Dorothy Scanner. The scanner improvements allows us to get shoots done in 4 weeks of sessions. Custom coded flash that just kind of does it automatically. All
But you know what I mean, any
calibrated
character, yeah.
in seconds. To give you an idea, our old process for doing this took hours to calibrate.
Like I was gonna say you'd probably be surprised, but no, you might not be. But a lot of the male people I know play female characters in games because they like looking at it, like I said earlier, like they like looking at it. They don't want to, so they enjoy, instead of having, looking at a guy, they want to look at a female character. So they would also probably want to look, some of them, I assume, would also want to like color the hair and do stuff like that. So there's an infinite amount of perspectives on an infinite amount of customization. And I think that's just, again, one of the magics of video games. The more customizable bits you can put in, the more like viewpoints you can have on a character. Like I said, it's amazing.
This thing does it in seconds.
Oh,
Talk
wow.
about state of the art. Average of 4 scan actors per day now. We used to be doing 1. What this means to you is we can get you characters faster. We can get you new heads faster. Polarized image data resulted in improved spec, blah, blah, blah. Those are awesome texture maps that we could put on the head. That way we could render them, make them look really good.
Oh, wow.
Photogrammetry captured in raw images at 8K texture map resolutions. Hyper accurate scan results.
Just a lot of detail.
Now, close your eyes if you're a little sensitive to light. This is the process we use to get the pictures, to build the photogrammetry, to calibrate the cameras.
Whatever
All right.
computer they're playing it on, even though they switch to the next
So,
slide,
There we got some characters here on the screen.
the video keeps
Those
playing.
are all built using all these things that I've briefly mentioned. I want to talk to you a little bit about skin tone, though. Skin tone's tricky because we want to apply it. We want to be able to customize it. We want you to have the ability to do whatever you want. So what you see is some really weird-looking characters. We see a head with some yellow. Yellow's good in this case. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the average skin color. Once we find the average skin color, we can figure out what that skin tone is, and then we can apply it. The blue means it's further away from the average skin tone. So when you apply your skin tone, it has less influence, keeping those high details, keeping the color, the blemishes, the imperfections. That middle one, that whitehead, that's where we get once we've extracted the data. It's now ready to apply the skin tone, which you see at the end.
So, no. So what it's doing is it's mapping out the difference in color. This is a white base on the differences, so you have all the differences in the skin over the average, and then you apply the differences back onto it. So you have all 3 stages.
Data. It's now ready to apply the skin tone, which you see at the end.
Very nice.
All right, so here's a little more detail what I'm talking about. We knew that we were going to get a pool for these heads, this pool of all these different awesome shapes, noses, ears, lips. But now, with what we're doing currently, you can see that we have calibrated all of our source photos of our actors. And with that, we could figure out exactly what they're supposed to look like. And then once I extract and do the average thing, I'm able to get a value. And that value translates into a skin tone. And that skin tone translates into a chart that you can customize your character with. And what's great about this is as we grow our pool and we get more heads, we get more skin tones. So our skin tones aren't based on, you know, whatever it should be. What should it be? What does it look like? These are real data. These are real data that we get.
That's a terrible way of explaining. They're not based on an artist's assumption of the skin tone color. This is based on actual photographs, people in this photogrammetry device, taking these. So these are just color. I forget what they're called. Calibration sets. So they're holding them in the scene so you can white balance the camera to these sets. And then you can have an accurate representation of all these different shades that their skin tone is. So you can have an accurate representation of what their skin tone actually looks like in real life. Instead of just taking a picture and saying, I think it's about this color, and then putting that in the customizer. Pulling the actual skin color data from all of the actors.
From these incredible clear angle scans and the incredible tech that is written by our staff, and the skin tone will grow along with our head data and along with our heads. And there's an example of me just applying it and showing that in practice. And now here's another look. Here's a couple more characters that I put together with this stuff. And here's what's great about that. I did that with our brand new character creator, character customizer for Squadron 42. Every head you see in here, which will also be applied to the persistent universe, so all heads are in the verse. And as you can see right here, here's a little scene I put together using the outfits, using the hair, using the skin, using the heads. And I did that all with the new character creator.
Yeah,
and here to show you that, if the live demo of the character creator, I'm going to bring back my good friend Sean Tracy.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so what's this all mean to you guys? Let's show ya. Time for live demo. All right, so I want to welcome you to the Biotic Corp Calliope machine. All right, so here you can see we've got the, whoa, I'm getting feedback. You can see we've got 2 body types that I can select from at any point in time. So we're going to start in right away. Now, you might recall how the character creator currently works. You would have a whole bunch of source heads from our DNA pool. We would select one of the facial shapes, and then we'd blend it up or down, depending on how much you wanted that certain facial shape. Now, this was pretty good, but it's not the most intuitive of systems. So instead, what we wanted to come up with was a much more intuitive way to control this. And what we've now introduced is sculpting mode.
I can't wait. This is... I've been asking for this since
It's quite interesting to know...
Since I saw the blend mode. I'm like, okay, that's amazing, but can't you have a smart blend where I'd say I want this part, like the nose, slimmer, and it will look through the head and say, okay, this one's slimmer, so blend to that nose, or blend to this part of the nose, and this is that smart blend. If you look, it doesn't move the ear. It like almost looks like AI art as it like flickers into different shapes, because it's switching between the different samples. It's not just moving the ear in and out. I love everything about the implementation of this idea. This is elite world-class design. Yeah. Yeah. I was really concerned. This was the part I was really concerned about Star Citizen falling behind, was in characters. Because a lot of other games are doing a lot more customization, a lot more types of customization, and their editor is not only intuitive in other games, like in Starfield, but it also seems to be easier. Like, it's easier and it's better. Like, it's got more customization in it. This came back, and again, like CIG is always good at, and blows it right out of the water.
So it's quite interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes, and this wasn't an easy problem to solve, but our animation programmers and tech artists and everybody came together,
Especially
and they figured out a way to
sources.
basically make it so that from the DNA pool, we are making a selection based on what you want out of it. So it's going on between all the different options. Now, I'm going to start making some changes here right away. So I want to wind up the nose. You can see that it's all very intuitive. It's fast to use. I'm going to make the lips a little bit bigger here. There we go, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to adjust the brow here, maybe make a little bit of a heavier brow. Now we can adjust the eye shape. We can go more almond eyes. We can go more oval. We can have a heavy lid. You know, I can find a whole bunch of different options within here. So here, we're starting to look pretty good. I want to give him a little bit more of a hero chin. And there we go. I'm liking that. Yes. That's cool. All right. So not to spend too much time on that, I want to show you some of the other features. And speaking of features, we go to our skin tone. So finally, you're not just selecting a preset skin tone. You can move through the whole gamut of the lookup table. And this is melanin and hemoglobin at the same time. So at the very top of it, I've got a texture slider. So instead of the whole head sort of selection, we can go between all the different textures.
Oh, wow.
Now, like Forrest mentioned, we're going to have 30 of these for...
So currently, we have the skin texture that we can switch from, and different skin textures will have different skin tone. This lets us pick tone independent of texture. That is amazingly awesome.
One body type and 30 for the other body type. So here, I'm kind of liking, what am I liking? Oh, I like this one. So here, and I'm just gonna set a skin tone that I kind of like, something like that. That's cool. All right, so the next step in our skin tone is the complexion. And complexion, we've added freckles.
And you can even, like...
So here, I'm just blending in.
I think the second I get this, there'll be a character customization stream with exported data, because we can export data now and save it across and share it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend, like, 4 hours in here just playing with it and then exporting it and then posting it in the Discord. And we'll probably have, like, an entire channel to, like, skin repositories, probably like a forum, like, community channel thing. So you can look through different skin, or not skin, but character customization builds and have them as like starting points. And as they add more actor to the source, it's going to look more and more like a standard type of character creator, but the quality of realism will just be unmatched. I think it's already pretty good as far as quantity. I think we're at standard quantity. I think as they do, we are going to end up getting unmatched quantity in addition to the unmatched quality we have. There's a lot of games, especially action games, which Star Citizen mostly is at the moment, that do way less as far as your face and the human in the game. Like a lot of action games will have way more customization for like the armor and the weapon loadout, and a lot less for the actual human being. So I think this is already pretty far ahead of a lot of people, pun intended, I guess. That's another thing I was gonna say. But yeah, I think with all the ethnic hairs and with the realistic skin tones and them not just focusing on like the standard types of like large stereotypes of human beings, but like getting as many varieties of all humans as possible, I think they're going to have unmatched quantity as well.
And I'm blending out the amount of freckles. Now, I've cranked it all the way to the top just so you guys can see it. But for my character here, I'm going to keep it kind of subtle, like this, but quite a few of them, something like that. We've also got sunspots. Now, this is, a little more weathered skin. We'll give this sort of look. And we've got a whole bunch of different blemish masks planned for you guys, whether that's sunspots or liver spots or anything to that effect. Now, I'm going to give this guy kind of a weathered look because I think the skin tone looks pretty cool like that. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, so next up, eyes. So no longer do we have the green and the brown, just the full selection. You've got a full RGB chart of what you want to select.
Oh, okay, I
So
see.
if you want to have
Yes,
bright green
that
eyes,
makes sense.
if you want to have hazel eyes, if you want to have blue eyes, if you want to have any of these eyes, this is all very...
So they'll have realistic shapes. So what you're saying is they'll have realistic shapes, but also it will seem like you're just, pulling on the ear or widening the nose, like in traditional linear editors where they just like have you editing the face itself, not blending between real faces. Yeah, got it. I did not get that the first time, but yeah, thank you.
Very, very nice. So again, we can go with deep browns. We can go with sort of a steely blue, which I'm kind of digging for this skin tone. I quite like that look. That's cool. Oh, well, we'll get into some funky colors. Don't you worry. All right. So one of the other things we've added, and it was mentioned before, we've added a makeup layer. And with the makeup layer, we're totally inclusive. Any of the body types can have makeup. Now, I don't want to spend too long on it here because we're going to get into it in a couple minutes. But I just want to show you sort of blending that in, blending that out for this particular body type. So next, as Andre talked about, we have all the hairstyles that you could want.
I like that the samples also rotate.
So I'm just going to pick
The white eye sockets, though, are still terrifying. CIG, please fill those.
a couple different ones. There's a reality for some of us and another reality for another one of us. There it is. That's what I want my reality to be here. Something like this. I'm digging the mohawk, though, for this one. He's got a bit of a Mr. T look to him. I kind of like this. Yeah, I pity the fool. All right. So it might go without saying that we've got beards now. So if you want to select a full beard, you can select a full beard. If you want just mutton chops, you got your mutton chops. You want your handlebar, you got your handlebar. All right. So we.
And that the sample heads are actually the model that's been created. Sample heads are actually the model that's been created. I don't understand what you're trying to say with that one. As in the I don't know how to say it better. That what I think you're trying to say, that the blend between them will be seamless, and you won't notice that you're actually blending between set shapes. Is what I think you're saying?
We've got all
Possibly?
the different beard types that you could want, and we're going to add as many as you guys really want. So I'm kind of digging the full beard for this guy. Yeah.
The head that
I'm
Sean
getting the
Tracy
full
has
beard for this guy.
made is the same as
Even
the same
further to that,
sample
we've
heads.
got eyebrow selection, which is, I mean, you could go with no eyebrows. That's a very real. You could have bushy ones. You can have a little bit more, normal, kind of straightforward ones. But it was mentioned before during the hair and with Forrest's discussion that we've got the hair dye as well. So with the hair dye, you can affect all the hair at once, and right now I've got all selected, so I can go through the gamut of all the different hair melanin that you can set. So here I'm just going to darken it up a little bit, and if I wanted to dye the facial hair, I could just dye the facial hair all by itself, setting a dye color here, something like that. But in the end, I'm really digging the jet black on this particular one. So I'm going to frost these tips a little bit. I think that's going to look kind of cool. Let's set a bit of a blonde here, turn up the dye amount. And then what's really cool about this, and I'll show this in a minute, is that we can actually control the fall off of it. So again, if I just want this on the tips, I can just blend it right about here. So there we go. He looks a lot different than how that started, and I think that's actually pretty fun. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I can't wait for you guys to explore it and spend as much time as you want customizing and expressing yourself as a character. So once you're done, you've got to sign off a personal declaration that the physical appearances that the Calliope process has allegedly caused are okay with you. So let's go to our next body type. All right. So I'm going to go to town here real fast, right away. And you might think it looks a little off or so, but I don't know. We're going to get there. Let's make some changes here. I'm going to adjust the bridge of the nose, maybe a little bit of the cheekbones here. That's maybe a little extreme. Let's go back here, something like that. And I'll make the lips a little bit smaller here, and I'm going to lengthen that chin for a little more of a triangle kind of face here. So you can see, you can tweak to your heart's content. You can spend a lot of time doing this. And I don't really like the brows. I like a little bit softer of a brow for this particular character. And that's looking pretty good to me, actually. So next, just like we did before, we go into features. We can do the skin tone. I'm going to select a certain texture here, just because we got to get going on time here. Let's go. Something around here is looking pretty good to me. Cool. All right, we go into the complexion the same way that we did before. So we start with the freckles. And I kind of like a real freckled appearance on this particular character. And I'm going to turn down the sunspots. So we move forward to the eye color again. Ooh, I'm really digging the green. Yeah, I like the green kind of look. And we get to the makeup. Now, this is where I wanted to spend more time. Now, I'm arguably not very good at this, but I will do my absolute best to show you guys how you can use it. So first is the eyeliner. So the eyeliner, we can do any color. You can go as crazy or as chill as you want to go with this. But for this particular, I'm going to go quite dark here, just in the dark sort of fuchsias and purples. Here, we're doing the inner lid eyeshadow. And that, I'm kind of keeping the same theme, I think. Yeah, and we're going to do the same thing with the broad eyeshadow. So again, we can go as crazy or as calm as you want. So what I've had good success in doing is kind of having it cranked, and then I just pull it back to a little more of a natural blend, something to this effect here. Next is the lips. We can do the exact same stuff on the lips. Now what we have is a whole bunch of different makeup masks, and you've got 3 different channels within those masks, so basically 3 different colors that are affecting different areas of it. Now for the lips, we can go with the same sort of theme if we wanted, and I think I'm actually kind of digging that. And let's go on the lip liner, a little darker. And then lips are a lot more glossy, so we can increase the gloss there, so that looks a little more like a lip gloss. Yeah, that looks pretty cool there. And then, like I was doing before, I kind of just pull it back a little bit. And there we are. So next, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. I have no business doing that, that's for sure. Same thing on the hair. Again, we've got a whole bunch of different hairstyles. These will all be shared between the two body types, but for this particular demo, we've got the ponytail, we've got the slick back kind of look.
I think the hairs should come with, and this would be a really hard thing to actually pull off. Each hair should have its own idle animation. Like, obviously, like, there's the default, like, set of idle animations. There's the console idle animations. There's the doctor idle animations. I think each hairstyle should have or at least hairstyle, like, archetype should have, like, hairstyle or idle animations. Because, obviously, with, like, hairs, like... I'll go to one that isn't backwards.
We've got the ponytail. We've got the slick back kind of look.
So, like, with that kind of hairstyle, with that one, even that one, you can take your hair and do this with it. But with stuff like that one, you'd be more of an over-ear thing.
I'm not finding one I'm really digging yet.
And then that kind of thing, you can't just, push your hair back like that. It would have to be like a movement of the hair around the face. You can't just, do that to it. And I think idle animations through the hair would actually be really nice.
Ah, yes. Yes, now we're talking. All right. So cool. Now, again.
And also to show off like the dynamicness of it, like just like adjusting the hair, having the character move it with their hand, or just like shaking their head to move their hair around, especially like after taking off a helmet or changing clothes. I think that'd be a really cool idea. I will try actually like remember to like start talking about that more, because I think that's a really good idea to have like hairstyle specific animations.
Fully inclusive here, guys. So if you want facial hair on any body type, you got facial hair on any body type. That is up to you guys.
There's gonna be some interesting characters walking around.
So on the eyebrows, I'm just gonna leave them because we can't really see them anyways. But for the hair, I really like.
And by
dyeing this
interesting
hair a
characters, I
certain
mean like
color, sort of,
the people playing these characters.
Something in the darker range. I'm gonna turn that down. I like the nice jet black. Look at the makeup bounce out. That looks cool. I'm gonna turn up the dye though, and I'm gonna try to carry my same theme forward here. There we go. And then I'm gonna give it a bit of a fall off, as we can do.
That's so cool.
Just on the tips there. So let's see that in action. Yeah. All right. So now, at first, we weren't sure about that character, right? But in the end, I think she turned out, definitely. So you go to a review, sign off your declaration again, and head to game. So, I'm really lucky to be able to sit in front of this. And again, it was a huge amount of work from tech art, engineering, designers, and specifically the Squadron feature team that has done all this work. And one of the cool things to note is that we use this now internally as a tool. That's why it's me up here demoing this. This is our tool internally for creating all these heads, for creating all the NPCs in the verse. Because as Chris put it one time, he doesn't want his NPCs to look lame. He wants them to look cool. And this gives you cool looking characters. Thanks a lot, guys.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. So I'm going to go take a small break. We're going to pull up a video as we go to our what we got? Playlists. All these presentations have been absolutely world class. Absolutely have been leading in their field type stuff. Yeah, it has really been a hey, games industry, we're not sitting around. Like, Squadron's going to be amazing, just absolutely amazing. Let's see. We'll do this.
Liberty.
Okay, now how does one do this? We do that. Gonna take this. Gonna take that. We're gonna put it here, and then put it down a bunch. There we go. So we're gonna go here. I'm gonna put that about there. Hit play, and I'll be right back.
Continuity, Quality. These ideals connect each and every one of us across this vast empire of stars. As such, I want you all to meet the 2952 Cutter from Drake Interplanetary. Oh yeah. This ship embodies those ideals that we are truly democratizing spaceflight.
Who needs to hire talent when the aerospace CEOs are dying to get on camera? Hey, Jimmy?
It's all about the hard-working people of the UEE. That's why we're excited to sponsor the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo 2952. See you in STEM.
What in the unholy hell? They think I'm dead? Unbelievable! Bob! I cannot believe that they moved on without me. After everything I did for them. Would a call have killed them? Oh, hey, Jax, do you want to come back, host the show? I'm sorry, Jax can't take your call because he's dead. Bob! Bob, now, I need to take the Corsair.
Good one.
Yeah, I came out here to get inspired, and I've just been hanging around, tending to my garden, and pillaging and plundering with you lot.
Are you talking to me?
You don't understand, Bob. My bosses have killed me off screen. Yeah, I've got to get back to Stanton. Is this ship flight ready?
Whoa! Whoa, Jax! But you can't have my ship.
Oh, come on, Bob, you owe me. You stole my Odyssey right when I got to Pyro.
But you stole it back.
And crashed it.
And crashed it.
Well, fair point. Did the boys already chop that new Drake cutter?
No, I told you I'm keeping that one. I kind of like it. Handle's nice.
Bob! Please?
No.
But it's just sitting there.
You know what, Jax? Fine. If it'll keep you out of trouble for a while, you can borrow the cutter.
Thank you, Bob.
I said borrow.
Thanks, Bob.
Jax!
Bye!
Don't fly angry!
Right. Are we on? Okay, right. Jax McCleary here. Obviously, I'm not dead. Just thought you should know. Looks like we're going back to Stanton. Here we go! Okay. Throttle's over here. Interesting. That does make a little bit more sense. Okay. Here we go.
Is it on?
I don't know.
Yeah, guys! It was right where he said it was! And to think, we tracked your little Drake ship here to kill you!
Guys, I do know my way around an 890, and since your hideout's a derelict Origin super yacht, I may as well take advantage, so...
Come on, Jax! Stay for a treat!
It's kind of you, really. It is kind, but I've got to get back to Stanton, so I'll just say bye-bye.
We'd love to have you for dinner.
What did I say?
Whoa! No need to resort to fisticuffs to decide whose Aegis ship is the better. No! For crying out loud! Go get in your damn ships. Come on! Let's take it to the tarmac, shall we? All right then, friends. Gladius versus Saber. Let's settle this thing once and for all, sans violence. I mean, I used to do this kind of thing on my show all the time. Are they ready? Sounds good. See, we've arranged a tower of barrels for each ship to blast. Each ship has the standard factory loadout. So let's see how that Gellinson Mantis GT220... Oh! Maybe we should get out of here. Never put the cutter. Oh, there it is. It finally happened. I got hit with one of those famous pyro solar flares, and the cutter has frankly, well, not been herself. But by good fortune of the Banu god of backwaters, I found this marketplace. Ah, my good man. Do you happen to have a power coupling for a... Ooh. Are those Vandal parts? Now, tell me, are those Esperia replicas, or, are they the real deal?
You like to walk on the wild side, man? I can dig it. I can assure you these parts... Whoa. Are you recording this, man?
Oh, no, it's not what you think.
Whoa, not cool, man. Whoa, not cool.
But I'm super cool. It's okay, I'm cool. I am cool.
No, it's all wrong. The RSI Galaxy prototype didn't show, and now the piece is a mess. Well, figure out how to punch this up while I go pit the Anvil segment. Oh, come on, Jimmy, you're supposed to be good at this.
Oh. Made it through one in about 2 hours before I started moving. Oh, hi. I muted the wrong one.
Pick yourself up, mate. No time to feel sorry for you.
All right. Hey, Keynes Industry. Assume the position we're about to take. Steal your bike. That's great. All right. We're now on to, I believe, life in the first person, correct? Somewhere in here is it? Yes, life in the first person. All right. And we will probably not end up getting through this entire thing. We've been going for 2.5 hours, which means we only have an hour and a half to go. So. Jen Lynn's Ennis Caldes, Zach Pierce, Francino, nope, I don't know how to do that one.
Hello, everyone. You know, am I too early? No. It's a real pleasure to be here at CitizenCon in person. I've had so much fun. Thank you all.
I want a shirt.
But my name is Jens. I'm here from Manchester. I'm going to talk to you about some improvements to Play Traversal. So we're going to start in Zero G, where we've been rebuilding the EVA experience from ground up. So the first thing you should see is that we've made the exit from gravity less disorientating. Oh, we're gonna face plant. We made it. All right, so we made the re-entry much more forgiving. So this EVA has a new prone lateral pose, and this is really important to us because it allows us to get close to surfaces, and it allows us to walk across them. So we can see that in this video here.
Okay, and as it gets to the end, we're gonna jump off. Okay, here we go. Into that, and this smaller profile lets us get into spaces we couldn't get into before, or not easily with the old EVA. We're gonna traverse through here, thread the needle, and also the collision is much more forgiving. We're gonna slide off at slower speeds, so we're not gonna be spinning away. Okay, big reveal. Love this station, this is amazing. And we're also adding grips, so in interiors, you might be able to hold on to grips to do interactions and walk between the grips to get better control. Now, thank you very much. So now prone has long been a problem motion set for us, right? But taking these EVA posing solutions we saw, we can now rotate around the camera without any lateral translation, so we're not rotating around the hips anymore. And it allows you to aim much better. We're also not moving the body, so we don't need to worry about the external collisions anymore, right? We're not gonna get pushed around. Of course, prone isn't all about looking around. We want to traverse as well. So we're going to head down this vent. And here we put in a new collision style. So this is all about letting you have control in narrow, small spaces, smaller than this. We're going to be able to push around the corners. We're going to go around tight bends. And we're going to be able to reliably go up and down slopes. And this is where prone led the way. So we then took this and we put it into the EVA. So if I turn off gravity here, which I'm not going to do, but if I did, the EVA would have been able to traverse the exact same place. And by having these motion sets so similar, we can exchange success between them. And that could then be done to other horizontal sets, like prone light sets, for example, like the water wheel showed it yesterday. We might be able to take you swimming there one day. So. Okay, we're going to move up from the horizontal to the vertical. So with ladders,
I really like the transition for ladders.
And significant improvements. So we got midpoint markups that lets you enter the ladder at anywhere. We're going to let you look around so you can do 360s. We're going to let you lean on the ladders so that you can avoid obstacles or peek around corners. And this all got a full new animation set. It looks amazing, especially with all this beautiful star cloth. You know, you got both the hood and the cape there. It looks amazing. Okay, so with combat, we wanted to add more speed to the encounters. So what we've done is we've removed the weapon penalty, so you can move at the same speed with and without the weapon out. We've reduced the inertia, so you're going to be able to push up to your desired speed faster. And this is already in 320 and 321, and we got more things like this to come. Right, so I didn't just want to talk about improvements. I've hinted at swimming, but I'm going to show you a different feature, right? So sliding. So with the power slide, you inject a burst of speed. This doesn't just take you from A to B faster. You're going to have a reduced profile. You become a smaller target. It doesn't come for free. You know, you're sprinting, so that's going to cost you stamina. You're sliding, that's going to add some stamina cost. And when I do it back to back like this, my heart rate is just pumping, 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 right? So you got to be a bit careful. You can't just slide your whole way from the hubs to the spaceport. Okay, so another thing that is really important to us is that with the slide, it's a short duration, but we want interactivity as soon as possible. And that's true for all our motion sets. We're going to go through all of them and give you interactivity. So with the slide, we want you to be able to aim around as soon as possible. The moment you hit the ground, you're going to be able to aim around, all right? And the direction is locked, so if I was to slide from one end of the stage to the other, I would be sliding this way, but I'd be looking this way, right? And look at you guys, hey. But while I'm sliding, I can hip fire. And as I come out in the exit, I can ADS, I can lean. I could go back to sprint right away, so I could do back-to-back slides, like we saw in the last video. Okay, so moving beyond traversal, just to finish this section,
really good.
I want to talk about new hazard.
Yeah.
Now you saw this yesterday.
Very good.
UI demo.
Looks a lot more fluid, a lot more forgiving, a lot more polish.
Oh, I lost my phone. Bone, can you press the button? That's it. Okay, radiation. Right. So radiation, for that, it's a new addition to this active status system, and we need to look at the bottom left here. So in the middle, you got the amount of radiation that being pushed on your body. If you have a directional source, it's based on your body surface and your distance to that source. So by going behind the cover here, I can completely cut off all the radiation. So I can use that. And then on the left, we have an icon that has a shield around it. Now, that shield works in two ways. Right? First of all, it comes from your outfit. So depending on what you're wearing, you're going to have a better or less accurate shield, right? It has a threshold. As long as your radiation doesn't exceed the threshold, the shield will hold true. It'll scrub all the radiation off, and you can stay there as long as you like. But as the shield starts peeling off, when the radiation gets higher, the shield will peel off. And you know the radiation sickness kicks in right at the end of the video here. And my health just deteriorates super, super quick. So yeah, that's not great. Okay, so we're gonna see some more radiation in the next section. So I would like to welcome Inesh up on the stage. Thank you very much, everyone.
Why are we showing that? Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Inesh and I'm a gameplay programmer here at CIG. And I'm here today to tell you all about, thank you. And I'm here today to tell you all about the features we've been working on to improve the player interaction experience with the physical objects in the world. So let me start by telling you what we've made to make it easy for you to identify and interact with these objects in the world. We have introduced in the new interaction prompts, which are AR cards that appear over the objects as the player gets near them. These, combining with scanning, will help the player to easily identify the interactable objects in the scene. So we have improved the algorithm that our interaction system uses to determine the current item in focus. So you'll have a smarter detection and selection as you move around and look around the scene. So the prompts will show you the active interaction and the keybind that you can use to quickly trigger it, like you see on the pictures. So we are trying to minimize the friction of the player to interacting with these objects. You no longer have to go into interaction mode to bring up the cursor, then drag it over, and to select using the inner thoughts. So we're removing that.
What was that again?
To go into interaction mode, obviously trigger it, like you see on the pictures. So we are trying to minimize the friction of the player to interacting with these objects. You no longer have to go into interaction mode to bring up the cursor, then drag it over, and to select using the inner thoughts. Okay. So we're removing that. So what happens if an object has more than one interaction? Well, for that, you can just simply hold F, and this will bring you the new interaction wheel. So this is our new interaction wheel. It will be focusing on the item. And you can see that up to 2 of the interactions have a star icon. So this is related to another system that we are bringing to you that we call in the default item actions. So this allows us to have a primary interaction, that's the one that shows on the prompt, and a secondary interaction. So these are default actions that you can easily trigger using shortcuts. So these actions will change based on the combination of the item, the player, and the environment state. And although designers do choose the default actions that we bring to you, you are fully able to customize them to fit your preferences and playing style. So let's take a look at this in action. Here you can see the prompts that change depending on your focus. So let's bring up the wheel. And you know, I really like my plushes, so I want to inspect them when I find them around. So I'm changing that to my primary. And you'll see that does not affect only the item they're interacting with, but any item that falls into the same category.
I just hope it tilts a little less.
Go next. Okay. So I've shown you some features that improve.
This is one of my favorite things in the interaction, the talk, the buttons.
So I've shown you features that improve the readability and easiness of interacting with the objects in the world. But the other part of our focus was to bridge the disconnection between the player and the object you are interacting with. In a fully physicalized world that we want to provide you, a tactile experience is very important to sell the experience. So we've introduced a new system that allows us to play animations on the player of actually reaching out and physically touch the objects in the world. Yeah. So our main goal was to give you a better immersion, but at the same time minimizing the friction and the control we take away from you. So this really was an exercise between code, design, and animation to give you the best experience possible. Let's see some of this in action. And you know, pressing buttons has never been so satisfying and fun. And you know, I just kind of like go. And okay, so let's continue with this theme of tactile experiences. The next thing I want to talk to you about are usable interactables. So usables are objects that have existed in our game for a very long time. And you know, designers have had a variety of tools to build these really interesting and complex sequences for the AI. But up until now, what we could do for the player was very limited. So this past year, we've been building up our tools that provide.
I don't remember what the second half of this
designers could build
panel
these
is.
really interactive experiences, but for the player. And the advantage of using the usable system is that anything that the player will be able to do, the AI will also be able to do. So let's have a look of a simple demo that one of our designers put together to see what we can now achieve. So in this scenario, the player has to go forward but can't go forward because of the toxic water. So he has to go over to the valve to turn off the water. So before we could maybe play a simple animation when you interacted, but now designers can give full manual control to you. So you, by pressing the specific inputs, you will be driving the system. So, but this is not enough. We needed to be able to give designers a way to translate what the player is currently doing and affect other objects in the world in specific ways. So this is what is happening here. As the player is turning the valve, is controlling the flow of the water that's coming from the pipes. And what should happen when the player is no longer in control? Do we want to keep the state, revert back to the initial one, or maybe trigger something else altogether? Well, it's up to designers to define the type of experience they want to bring to you. So let's finally turn off that valve, rush over before that broken valve starts turning off, and then see another small example. Oh, let's go. So yeah, we'll see another small example where you won't be able to open the door by a press of a button, but you have to manually interact with that pump and manually open it. So you'll have to time your inputs to slowly open the door. So this is just a small taste of the level of interactivity that we can now have with these objects. We had really nice results for Squadron, for the mess hall line, and you know, I can't wait to see what the PU designers will create and bring up to your hands.
I really like it. I really like it a lot.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, let's quickly talk about kiosks and terminals. And let's be honest, it's really hard to interact and get a good view of these ones. So we made a small little changes to make it easier for you. We've created a new focus mode that will walk the player to perfectly align
Star Citizen, casually leaving missiles on shelves.
with the kiosks. So we can better perfectly frame the screen on the viewport. At this point, the interactive screen will steal the input focus until you actively chooses to leave. So let's take a look at this in action. And look at that, when you trigger it, and like, Yeah, so this is a very small quality of life improvement, but it will make it much easier for you to interact with these kiosks. And finally, let's talk about looting. This is our new looting screen.
I want to see that.
Yeah, so this is a very and look at that when you trigger it and like.
It's very nice. Instead of just like, it's, your character walks around and focuses.
Yes. It's not replacing the inventory, but it will be used when you're looting a body or any other lootable that you find in the world. It was specifically designed to improve this experience. So since looting is a common action during FPS combat, especially if you haven't fully prepared ahead, we wanted to make it as easier and quick as possible, so you could spend the minimum amount of time to grab any items you need from your target. So it displays the current loadout and a simplified version of the inventory. Looting favors speediness, while the inventory is there so you can fully manage your loadout. So we're still actively working on it, and this is especially on the UI and art, but I want to give you a little sneak peek how this all works.
That's more the updated sounds.
Okay, let's go over to so you see the player loadout is on items are on the bottom, the target is on the top. You can if you hover the different widgets, you'll see a tooltip that with the different quick actions you can do. You can just simple press. Yeah, it'll be so much easier. So yeah, you can quickly press to just equip or swap. You can even use your mouse wheel if you want to change the target. You can drop anything, store anything, just really quick actions. And you'll see in a minute that we also can trigger ammo repooling. So this will grab all available ammo, either from your target or from your inventory, and will fill up the magazines in your loadout and get rid of any.
All right, just give me a second. More foods have been made.
The magazines. So yeah, looking really good. Yeah, so it's looking really good, and I can't wait to see the final art. So that's all from me. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great time.
Great energy, absolutely great energy. The only thing I don't like about the UI is it feels like it's swimming in a vast emptiness. And maybe because they're using an ultra wide. So the black bar is here and here, but it's, this wide. But, as I say, they're still working on the art and things. I absolutely love the functionality. Nothing wrong with the functionality. I just think the art feels a bit swimmingly. I really hope that all of the tilting that all their menus do, they tone that down like a lot. It's far too floaty, like especially the new interaction wheel. Yikes! When you choose one of the tiles, like it's terrible. No, all it needs to do is this. Like, does not need to bend 45 degrees to your thing. Just subtle. Subtlety is key.
Those who cannot remember, my name is Jens. And I'm now going to talk to you about some changes we made to our stealth gameplay. And I'm going to give you an update on weaponware.
Stealth.
Right, so takedowns is an important part of our stealth encounters. So this is where we're going to add some player skill progression. So going to move you through different action sets. You're going to start out by struggling. You might fail. Of course, this sort of added time and the extra noise you're making is really going to increase the risk of detection. You're going to get faster the more you do it, and then you're going to reach maximum efficiency. Check this one out. So he's so fast you can barely see him do it.
So you're correct, obviously. But I think for me that's the point, is that you're taking your focus off of the situation outside and you're focusing in, and you're saying I need to get some ammo or something. And so you should have that loss of situational awareness, because you've pulled your focus from your situation to this downed person. Obviously, there is plenty of balance that can be set around that topic, but like, I don't know, like the UI seems lost on the screen. They can find ways to make it not look so lost with still making it minimal. I mean, heck, they did it with the current UI, the current visor HUD. Like, this does not look lost on the screen. It looks pinned to the screen where it should be. But it also is very minimal.
And then it guides the body to the floor, so it makes almost no noise, right? We're going to explore some more variation beyond our unarmed and our knife takedowns, like sedative injection pens and contextual takedowns. So this guy on the railing here, let's see what we can do about him. So by using the environment, we can do a more efficient takedown than maybe our skill level would have allowed. And it certainly looks a lot cooler. And we're going to be able to use this to get to enemies that might be otherwise difficult to get to with our normal takedowns, like a pilot strapped into his pilot seat, you know, sneak up on him and take him out. Okay, so in that last video, we incapacitated that enemy a lot. I'm going to introduce you to a new weapon, a new item, sorry, and that's the restraints. So with the restraints, okay, let's take him down first. One more. Oh. Okay, so with the restraints, we're going to turn him over. We're going to cuff his hands. We're going to cuff his legs.
It's so good.
Now, if he wakes up, he can't chase us down, right? But he could call out for help. So what we're going to do as well is we're going to add places in the environment where you can stash a body. You can hide them, either unconscious or dead. And that way, it should be easier to remain undetected and keep you in that stealth bubble. Now, this is another thing we talked about in the UI demo, which is the ping. And we saw it in Inesh's presentation, how she did a short ping to highlight a door pump. Now, of course, we allow you now to charge up that ping. And by doing so, we can see further, and we can see through obstacles, and we can populate more information into our data bank that then shows up in our box outs here. So you get the name, and you maybe get the race, and maybe the faction. And you can use this information to figure out where is the weak link, which enemies can I take down without being discovered. There's a risk here, okay? So there's a charge up time. Means you can't do it all the time. It's going to recharge slowly. You see the bar at the top slowly going down. Until that goes all the way down, I can't ping. I can't even do a short ping. And it's going to spike my emissions or my signature. So an enemy with the right equipment or tech level might discover me. Okay, so let's move on to some talk about weaponware. So here we're going to see a simulation of a weapon getting more and more worn over time. We're going to expand this beyond weapons to other FPS items like your armor, your clothing, your helmets. In actual game, this would be triggered by weapon usage, right? So the more you fire your gun, the more worn it's going to get. And this is going to affect its efficiency, it's going to affect its reliability, and it's going to reduce its resale value. Each item is going to wear at its own rate and persist at its own rate. So you could have a worn rifle with a pristine scope or a pristine rifle with a worn scope. Check this one out. There you go.
That's a flavor.
So the geometry isn't the only thing that's going to change as your weapon wears. So here we're going to see a pristine Gemini pistol in the little window and a worn one in the big window. And you can see the visual effects. It's belching out smoke here because it's very worn, right? It's telling you, you know, it's time to get this one changed. And you should be able to hear the audio as well. It's get growlier.
Yep.
Okay, on to some consequences. So it's not all visual, so we're gonna stop with misfire. So the first thing that's gonna happen is you press the trigger, your gun doesn't fire. The second thing that happens in this video, you got, I hope you guys know what's happening. So he goes, and then it goes click. That's the bullet getting lodged in the chamber, right? So we gotta fix it. So it's telling us to fix it. We're hitting the button, our enemy's firing on us. So you got some options. You don't have to fix it. You could holster your gun, you could pull out a new gun. You could use that new looting interface that Ines showed to grab a better gun. Okay.
I hope when this feature comes online, that repair will also be. So you can really wear down your guns visually, but still like maintain them mechanically. I think that'd be really nice.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this section.
To where you're not just going through tons of different guns
and
just picking them up and throwing them out.
So here again, we're
E-waste
going to see a
guns.
simulation of dirt accumulating over time on the same rifles we saw before. But in the actual game, this would be based on your activities and the environment you're in. So if you're running around in a sandstorm, you're rolling in mud, you leave your gun outside proper storage, it's going to accumulate dirt. And that's going to increase the rate at which it wears. So the dirtier your gun is, the faster it will wear out. And this is true for other biome accumulations, like frost. So let's take a look at this one as well. Oh, or not. Okay, so yeah, so in the future it's going to be really important that you keep your guns clean and repaired. I'm now going to welcome Zach on stage, and he's going to talk to you more about the FPS weapons. Thank you very much.
So there's cleaning and repair. They just didn't talk anything about it. Good to know.
Hello, I'm Zach Priest. I'm a senior FPS game designer. I'm here to share some of the new, interesting FPS things we have to bring you. So if you play modern shooters, you'll have noticed that the quality bar has gone through the roof in recent years. Things from visual recoil to VFX, just overall general weapon feel. And as you know, we recently did a pass on our weapons to get them a bit more up to speed, but we couldn't hit that quality bar that we really wanted to. Because guns are violent in nature, and we couldn't portray that as much as we wanted to. So we made a new tool. And it allows us to show the violent nature of weapons while, creating greater weapon-to-weapon variety, So, this new tool also integrates better with other systems. For example, you just saw like wear and dirt and things like that. And I'm extremely proud to show you the new weapon recoil. So this is the old P4. It kind of falls a bit flat. You're not really getting that like oomph that you want, but you've probably shot this a million times. Now the new P4, it has these nice little bop downs, and you feel it getting close to the camera, and the overall aggression of the weapon is a lot more there. It feels a lot more visceral when you fire it. This new tool gives us granular control over the movements of the weapon. So essentially what we have in one of our tools now is almost an animation tool where we can control the rotation and the location of things. So this is the old PA SMG. This is a new one. And in general, it's bringing the house down now. So recoils are just, in general, easier to tweak now. And they're a lot more impactful, and we can create weapon variety in the just far new, more and interesting ways. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much. Cheers. We also have new procedural animation over our ADS. So previously, if you play right now, you basically have a linear pose-to-pose transition. And sure, it's there, but now we layered some of this procedural stuff on top. So for example, if you have an SMG, it can come up a lot quicker, it can flick up, you feel really cool. LMGs can be a lot more heavy. So before it basically just do, move from pose to pose, but now we can keep it longer down here, bring it up slowly, and overall it just feels like you've got an LMG, or it feels like you've got an SMG. We're just using things like, ease in and ease outs, and just give more life to the overall weapon. Oh. There we go. And we also have new iron sights. So, sci-fi weapons are chonky. They're full of detail, they look really cool, but a lot of that detail can potentially get in the way sometimes. So you've seen, this is a change to the Kana, where we have raised the weapon sight and given what we call the target acquisition window more room to breathe. So if you're aiming at somebody, you can just generally see a lot more, so optics aren't a crutch anymore. So you can see this on the Ravager, and you can see this on the Custodian.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Weapon functionality changes.
Oh boy.
So as you imagine with the new recoil tool, we're going to do a pass on all the existing weapons. They're going to look and feel great. But while we were looking at our weapons, we also realized that some things don't necessarily, align with their manufacturer, right? You look at something like Gemini pistol. Now, Gemini overall is rule of cool. Like, that's what Gemini is supposed to be. So the LH86 pistol should be fully automatic, realistically. So we have a video to show you of the pistol. And as you can see, it goes ballistic when you fire it. The magazine count has also increased to allow for that just crazy feeling that the pistol gets.
Cool. Zero control.
Cool. Thank you very much. Right, and moving on to our new Vault weapons. So, it's the other video. That's the optic one. There you go. Thank you. These are the Vault weapons. So, Vault is primarily based around controlling a heat of a weapon. These weapons have the potential to overheat. And if they overheat, you'll be unable to fire. And they will enact differently. So some weapons will just basically be beams from the get-go. Some will go into beams. Like, see, this one goes into a beam once it reaches a certain level of heat. And it's really fun because, these are quite powerful weapons, and you basically want to manage the heat and, keep it in that, ideal spot. Okay, cool. And scope improvements. Now, this was shown yesterday, but I want to dig in a little bit more with this one. So, to get if anyone plays a modern FPS, they know that optics are just gorgeous now. In all modern shooters, they look fantastic. And as you can see, we have zoomed in optics in the center. So and then we have other things like parallax, like you see in real life. And they look gorgeous. And so in general, all our sights and scopes have been overhauled to be more realistic with things like parallax, pincushion distortion, and things you'd expect from having a scope in general. And it differs manufacturer to manufacturer, right? So some things are purely digital, some things are purely physical. So if you get hit by an EMP grenade, for example, we're using something like a television sight, like something like
it's definitely something that I want to, I don't have any judgment till I actually use them. I know Level Cap was saying he's really not convinced on them, so we'll have to wait and see when they actually get in hands. I like the idea of it, so we shall see indeed.
It would turn off. Right. Thank you. Cool. And weapons are ultimately as only good as they sound. I'll be quiet for this next bit. But as you know, we've done a lot of work on our audio propagation systems and just in general how guns sound. We've also switched out some noises and made them feel a lot more beefy.
I like that. Nice. And that's spread too. Holy cow.
Fantastic. I think all of California heard us there. So, backpack reloading. In real-life combat scenarios, you often grab magazines from other surplus areas. I want to simulate that in our game. So, to show you this, we have something called backpack reloading. If you run out of ammo in Star Citizen, you have to open a menu, put things on. it's a little bit clunky, it's a little bit awkward. So if you have magazines in your backpack, you will now be able to grab them at the price of a longer reload animation. You will also be able to tell when you have a backpack reload coming up because it will be displayed.
Yeah, I found that strange from LC. He seemed to be making the argument that why bother trying to something new with things that work as they are. Didn't seem like he missed the point, trying to improve the game here. I think the problem was he does competitive shooters. His thing is, like Battlefield. And from what they showed, there's a little more realism and friction in the sites that they showed, being that parallaxing. He said, it's realistic. It's not necessarily better. So I think he was grabbing onto that, kind of like, I'm not really sure if it's good for the game. So it's a choice on realism for Star Citizen, it seems. And from there, like, I've never seen a display that does that in competitive shooters. They're much more like snappy. They're gamifying gunplay, and Star Citizen is trying to grab a lot of that realism with it to make gunplay as messy as it is in real life. And I think he was commenting on how it's from the perspective of a competitive shooter, it's not a competitive shooter choice. But he also said, we'll have to see. So, we'll have to see.
On the inventory with the backpack symbol. So there's no surprises, no catching of. You have all the information you need. And this has been shown, and it has been teased a little bit, the dynamic crosshair. Now, no more third-party dynamic crosshairs now. So, if you have a look at this, this is our new crosshair. It's a crosshair that fits the aesthetic of Star Citizen. It's a crosshair that follows the barrel of the weapon, so you'll see exactly where a bullet is going to land. And it's projected from the visor using AR. Some visors won't have access to this crosshair, but some will use modified combat lenses. So if you don't want to use the crosshair, you can just use a different visor. As you can see, it works with recoil, and overall, it just looks gorgeous. Cool. Cheers. And on to more data things. We're going to provide an improved PvE experience. The accuracy calculator for NPCs is coming over from Squadron 42. Some people have been playing it in the venue and here, and I've been harassing them, whoever's doing the hangar mission, to get their feedback, and it has been overwhelmingly positive.
Nice.
We also have new NPC archetypes, what we're temporarily calling the Juggernaut, which is basically a very high damage resistant enemy that has an LMG or a shotgun. As soon as they see you, they fire, they walk up to you.
Which I believe those
overall,
ones...
It's been playing amazingly.
I think those behaviors are in 322.
And I'm really happy for you guys, I'm really excited for you guys to get your hands on it at one point. PvP, we want to increase the time to kill. This allows for more varied weapon balancing. We can lay into sort of different aspects of the element more. It leads to higher skill ceiling and less unfair deaths. It will no longer be a game.
And I really for, again, competitive shooters, this doesn't make much sense. You want to be able to point, click, done, move on. But for scenarios during gunplay, again, and this is a not realistic thing. This is the longer it takes to kill per gunplay, the more unrealistic it is. Because, if you shoot someone, they're down. That's it. They're done. Unless, if you hit somewhere important. If you hit an extremity, then it's gamble kind of. But being able to be under fire and to decide, nope, I'm out. That really doesn't happen in the current game. So I really like all of the TTK going up for ships, for players, for vehicles, for basically everything that we're doing. The longer it is, the more scenarios you can have during the whatever event is going on that TTK is brought into the picture. So it is a welcome change every time they say. But obviously there's a limit. So you can't have, it takes 30 seconds just before AR constantly to take down players. So forever balance.
Game of whoever shoots whoever first. Speaking of which, force reactions. We're reworking them. We're aware it's frustrating, and we are going to rework the system to work beautifully. And we're also working on some other highly requested PvP changes. I'm very happy to say a lot of this work has been dialed in. Squadron 42 is in a very good state, and we're bringing this to you soon. Now, over to the AI director, Fran, to share some exciting updates on combat AI.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So, I'm Francesco Roccucci, as you said, and I'm the AI director in CIG. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you guys. It's fantastic. So, what we're going to do today is to explore how all the work we've done for Squadron 42 is going to flow into the Star Citizen experience. So we wanted to make the AI presentation about how you guys are going to experience the tech and the features we have been working on. So from the player perspective, you've seen how many new opportunities you have. And now it's interesting to see how the NPC are going to react to that. So the goal of Star Citizen is to build a breathing and living environment where your actions matters, and the NPC you will find in the universe needs to have the same opportunities and same limitations that you have. So when we play a game, we want you to spend the time that feels memorable, that feels special, right? Something you can remember and talk about. So we want you to give you a challenge to overcome, but also a challenge that is fun and doesn't feel repetitive and boring. So when we look at FPS Encounter, we want to build variety. We want to give the designers, like Zach, the ability to craft combat scenarios, not just to put NPC in the level. And we need to make sure that he can tweak something such that he can experience the unique play style and the play space that you have. So Star Citizen can benefit from tons of unique environments. So for those environments, we want you to have different type of fun. So what we look at today is some of the tools that they have to achieve this goal and bring the AI to the next level. So the first tool we're going to look at today is the NPC trait system. So all
right, so let's see what we have. Sentry, medic, friendly fire, gunner, rocketeer, suppressor, blind fire, ignore fire, obstruction, shooter token priority, ignore shooter token, always flee, infinite ammo, pusher override, defender override, strafer override, aggressive, caution, undisciplined, trigger finger, reckless, trigger discipline, more.
Spoke about this in the past, and we have now.
And these all have been mentioned over several, tons of monthly reports. So Sentry is you'd see guys in towers around derelict outposts. They stay there. They fire at you when they can see you. Blind fire is pretty self-explanatory. They just kind of fire at a direction where they assume you're coming from. Shooter token priority. This is basically saying if this character has this trait, they will always shoot first of a group of them. Obviously, always free. Suppressor is to lay down fire to keep you suppressed. Infinite ammo. That's a very interesting one. Obviously, they just have infinite ammo. I imagine that's not going to be used often. Ignore shooter token. So shooter token, ignore shooter token. Ignore fire obstruction. So basically, they continue to fire even if there is something between you and them. You can also say friendly fire or ignore friendly fire, which was somewhere. So pusher override, basically, they will override anything that is in the way of it and go to override or go to pusher. Pusher, defender, and strafer are the three main archetypes, which is they will push towards you, cover to cover. They will defend an area, or they will try and sneak around you as they are also fighting with you. Aggressive, cautious are both obviously temperaments. So you could have a aggressive pusher just straight towards you, but you could have a cautious one that's cover, check. Cover, check. You can also have reckless, trigger, disciplined, and undisciplined trigger. So I imagine that wouldn't make much sense with these. So you can, so these two and these two are kind of, well, that and those will make a very bad shooter. But if you're disciplined, let's say you're disciplined sentry, you're cautious. Like that's a very difficult, that's a very shifty NPC. I can't wait to see like these. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see what the traits are doing, but we will be able to see, like, we'll be able to pick up on it. And that's why I want to be able to like read the enemy kind of thing.
Now available for designers, the initial set of traits they can use to influence the behaviors. So those are some of the ones that are available to the designers. Today we're going to focus on the combat traits, because we have traits that also apply to the peaceful situation and the social environment, but those are the ones that influence NPCs during a combat scenario. And traits, you can imagine them as characteristics NPCs have or don't have. So through the usage, we can make sure the combat feels different from one encounter to another. Traits in tech-wise, are just traits and tags that we can apply to character instance, character classes, but code can also apply them automatically based on specific rules. For example, if you see somebody with a rocket launcher, those will apply, an example, the sentry trait automatically, because those weapons are weapons that work well at range, so you want them to not push forwards to you. So they allow to block, or actually, they allow or they block specific section of the behaviors to run, but they also influence the likelihood of some logic to happen, or they modify the outcome of specific actions. So let's imagine we want to model a pirate faction, something that you can actually experience in the Pyro playground. So we want them to feel aggressive, but also not very trained. They are not very military. So how do we do it with the traits? We can start adding to this faction either the aggressive or reckless trait. Those are traits that increase the risky behaviors. So for example, fighting more in open space or expose themselves longer when they are in cover. We can then assign to some of those pirates the ignore fire obstruction trait. As you've seen, for example, in Chris Rain presentation during the CTG demo, like we have now destructible environment. So what the NPC will try to do is to keep shooting at the position the enemy has been hiding into. So you will see destroying environment, but you will also see them being less careful and managing their ammos. For others, we could use the undisciplined trigger finger trait. So this trait is, for example, meant to convey the inability to control their weapon when they are emotionally engaged in the fight. And what it will cause is them to trigger the weapon much longer also just a bit longer compared to what the behavior is asking. So being better at preserving their ammo means they will also run out of bullets much quicker. So this offers interesting opportunities for players because they can now shoot at them while they reload or while they scavenge the environment. So traits are building blocks we can use to define how character, faction, or encounter should feel. And designer can now create a wide variety of encounters for you guys to enjoy the game. So I want to paint a picture for you guys. So this is the bunker mission in Pyro, right? And we have a set of enemies that are defending the environment. So this is imagine an infiltrate and destroy mission. Those guys are there defending the bunker. You need to take it over. You need to basically kill them all. You are now fighting against enemies that they defend the environment. So before we go to the next slide, imagine the same environment, very similar enemies, but different traits, same behavior. So now you are defending an environment, and they are aggressive towards the environment. They want to take it. So what you will see here is that created a mix of enemies, some equipped with, for example, shotgun and aggressive traits. Now they will push towards you. They will force you to take actions and to react to them. They reload. Some will cover up. Obviously, this is with God mode on, so Zach was not dying. So this is possible to set up with a Tikova box. But this is not just enemies, because in Star Citizen, we want you to hire your own crew members. And those crew members, those characters, will have different personalities, different traits, different training level that they can build up. But when you look at their traits, we want you to see their strengths and their weaknesses so that you can pick the one that either match your playstyle or compensate your playstyle.
That's really interesting. You just kind of throw out, hey, we're maybe working on NPC crew without any real like actual word on it. It's very strange. And something I just realized, which I didn't really realize before, like NPC crew can include a security team, like that you can bring out of the ship. I've thought of crew previous to now as just, works on the ship. But no, you can definitely have like security, and it's pretty easy to say, hey, have a follow me command or a security team, and you can like designate points that they have to secure and defend, and like over there outside the ship. Or they can like, maybe there's like a way you can give a command to secure the landing zone around the ship after you land. That'd be really cool. That'd be a really cool command. Secure LZ. That'd be pretty cool.
So one good thing that we want to show you today is the medic. So there are some NPCs that can carry, obviously, med pants, but not everybody is able to use it well or wants to use it in a specific encounter. So we want to tweak this, and we have the medic trait. Here we combine a lot of the tech that we have spoken in the past, usable tech, behavior tech. And as Jens showed you, players now can just not only kill enemies, because before our NPCs would just die, but now you can take them down, you can restrain them. So the hyperception needs to carry all this information about the different actor states. So it needs to know if he's down, but if he's still alive, or if it's just, somebody that you need to wake up. So a medic in the regular combat flow can, when it's safe to do so, and at the right time, attempt to heal his mate that can be helped. So now you can imagine guard patrolling the environment, you take down a character, the guard finds this body on the ground. He doesn't know if he's alive or not. So he can go there, he can check it, check the pulse, see the state.
When you're holding a weapon, if you press the number pad key 1 through 9, look at military hand signals, could give NPCs Free Fire T instructions that way. Yeah, for sure. That would be an amazing way to add in combat commands to NPCs. Absolutely. I think also, in addition to those, a nice, simple, gamified ping system. Just, you project like a raycast into the environment and say, hey, go secure that position, or hold here, or move to that point, kind of thing. Just by like clicking on the environment in front of you. And I imagine that can be even expanded to command and control displays and up to the fleet level. So on person, you can say, hey, go move forward that way, move to that spot, or go defend that area. And then you could also have, a battle map in front of you. Like if you had like a mobiGlas map, and you could say, hey, teams 1 and 2 move here, kind of more of an RTS kind of thing. And you can expand that exact interface into your ship. And you say, okay, ship 1 move to here, ship 3 move around here to this way. And that would even be good for players. And I don't know how you would then display it for players. So let's say you have a mixed company of NPCs and players on your away team, on your security away team. So if you say, hey, let's say 1, you say, follow me, with whatever hand signal follow me is, and NPCs, they'll just read the game code. Okay, he's telling me to follow him. So what would it do for a player? Would it pop up a little thing like highlight the character, gives some like follow me icon that shows up on the screen, just so they know that he's given a command. I imagine that I think that's a pretty good idea. And then obviously you'd get pings on your HUD, defend area, pick up items, such and such. And then that same visor system would go to the captain of whatever vessel, which would be actually much harder than, I mean, it would appear, because if you're, let's say, let's go back to the Kraken or Carrack, because Carrack got the big world map thing. And if you tell, like, let's say another Carrack to get in a different position, who are you going to tell, the captain or the pilot? To follow chain of command, you tell the captain. Captain then tells the pilot. So you'd have to like branch up. You'd have to not only have like reputation within this organization, you'd have to have, or not reputation, you'd have to have like tiers of command inside this organization. You then have to be able to, well, not be able to, but it'd be after you have that kind of tier disconnect. So captain, we'll call him, basic captain of the fleet. So was it not an ambassador? Commodore. The Commodore would say, move these ships here, these ships here. And that would send a ping to all the captains saying where they want them, and then they would again ping for their crew to move into position. And that would work for both NPCs and players.
And if he
I think
can
that's
be
good
helped,
system.
he can basically execute the right healing process. If he needs a med pen, he will use the med pen. If he needs to shake him to wake him up, he will shake him up. And if he needs to unrestrain him, he will unrestrain him. And your crew members can also do the same with you. So if you are down in critical condition, they can come and help you out. We'll see now an example of this, where two factions are fighting. And you will see that at the right time, when the guy retreats, this guy can go there and heal his mate. And obviously, he needs to pick up a new weapon because he just dropped it. So as we mentioned before, and as you've seen here, NPC can run out of bullets, but can also lose their weapons. So what we have to do right now is that, first of all, we want NPCs to have a concrete ammo pool to use. We don't want infinite ammos anymore. So
except for the trait for infinite ammo.
the ammo pool is actually constructed by the ammos the NPC carry in their weapons, the one that they carry, the one that might have, and all the magazines they carry. They don't have any more bullets out of that. So NPC must properly use those items to fight. And the longer the engagement, the more likely it is they will run out of bullets and they will have to scavenge the environment. How do they do that? It's through the NPC, the usable system, as you've seen with Inesh as well, the Inesh presentation. You see that anything the player can interact with, the NPCs actually can, in the same exact way. So the dead bodies can be looted, same as dropped weapons. Ammo crates will have physically inside some weapons, magazines. They can provide you with items. An NPC can understand where you can find ammos that are actually functioning with their own weapons. And they actually can decide. For example, if it's better to reach an ammo crate and gather some new ammos, or if that is too far or towards the enemy, they can decide to pick up another weapon. So you will see that also already in Pyro, you might see it. And once they decide to do so, obviously they don't have bullets, so they cannot fight you. What they can do, they can also switch to their sidearms. And the sidearms is less effective, obviously, compared to the primary weapon, but it is still better than nothing for them to protect themselves while they go around and they loot the environment. So we'll see here an example where some NPC run out of bullets. Obviously, in this video, we give them a chance to go and loot as well. And this is a proper ammo crate that allows them to get back magazines. And another NPC arrives, and he will loot the dead body. This is the same dead body you might be able to loot, and you will not find ammos after that. But you will probably find it in the other one once you kill it. So, last but not least, another tool in the FPS arsenal is grenades. Grenades are a great tool, and PC can now fully react and use grenades in the environment. So grenades are a great tool, especially when an NPC needs to counter a player that is camping or a player that is hiding or say in a location that the NPC cannot reach. So grenade force the movement and keep the action going. But they're also very dangerous. You've seen in Ali presentation and Mike presentation that a grenade can make electronics explode, ignite a fire, and then the fire can propagate in the environment. So NPCs needs to properly understand the environment and not jump into the fire and get damaged. So how do we do that? Is we have a new full system to handle hazards. Basically, a hazard on the technical side can create a navigation volume modifier, and the navigation module modifier gets registered in navigation system, and our basically mesh can be modified, and it will carry semantic about if that is a danger, something better, and how much costly it is to go through. Because maybe you have a suit that allows you to go through the fire, so that is fine. You will not, the NPC can understand that. But if they can't, they will try to find positions that are safe for them to position themselves, but also paths that will avoid those dangerous areas. And now we'll see an example of that. This is a safe environment, still fighting, but safe, safer. And what will happen now? Fire ignites and propagates. This is fully dynamic, so it's fully controlled by the fire system. The fire system modifies volumes in the navigation system, and we really know where we can and not pass at any given moment. So this is a subset of the things that we worked on and we wanted to show you today. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to Jens.
Right, I want to thank Inesh, I want to thank Zach, and I want to thank Francesco for joining me on stage today. We want to extend a massive thank you to everyone who contributed to, supported us, and made it possible to show what we showed today. Now, with relentless optimism, we're looking forward to bringing you this all to the Star Citizen and more. Okay, we're going to leave you with a quick peek of a demo in Hangar 14 of Checkmate with some of these new features. Enjoy.
I want to see what this would be like stealth. I think it would have been a much better demo if they were trying to go in stealth and have it devolve into a really scrappy firefight.
Right. Thank you very much. I urge you all to come and join us in the Pyro Playground pit and have a go at Hangar 13 in Checkmate. It's a really great encounter. Thank you.
All right. And that brings us to the end of this stream. We've covered one less panel than we have, and we technically are supposed to have another half an hour, but I am super tired. I'm fading and all that. I will be back, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Thursday, but Friday, and we will do at least 2 more panels. Thank you everyone for coming. It's been great. I have more ideas for more videos, and like super excited to see all the stuff in Star Citizen. I'll see you later, guys. And as always, be kind. Bye, everyone.